What's good, family? This is your boy Solar Mind of ITBM2, the official channel, and Solar Vision ITBM2, bringing you part 3 of the trilogy of debates between Tyvon Swain-EL and Imam Bashir. Tonight, we're going to be dealing with the authenticity of the Hadiths and also who is closest to the Moors in Spain, the Moor Science Temple, or the Ahmadi Muslims. So, we have the time set. We already spoke with him about the time. The time will be a 5-minute intro, a 10-minute opening round, a 10-minute follow-up round, and then we're going to have a 5-minute closing, and then we're going to have a 15-minute lightning round. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on the debaters. Peace. What's going on, Tyvon Swain-EL, and what's going on, Imam Bashir? Peace.
Peace, family. What it is.
So do we got to flip the coin, or who's going first this time?
No, I say let Bashir go first. I went first last 2 times.
Okay, no doubt, no doubt. We will set the timer for 5 minutes for the Imam Bashir to do his opening. Your 5 minutes starts now.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I bear witness that there is none worthy of worship except Allah. He is alone and has no partner. And I bear witness that Muhammad is his servant and messenger. We seek refuge with Allah from the accursed Satan, and we begin in the name of Allah. Peace to the family, Shalom, Hotep, Islam, all of the good things, that we want to give out to the people. I want us to really listen attentively to the conversation, because really it's going to be a really quick conversation that essentially is going to be nipped in the bud relatively fast. Because for me, the subject matter, the authenticity of hadith in regards to, are these things something that we should use in the world of Islam? And then the second part is essentially, does the Ahmadi Muslim community or the Moorish Science Temple reflect, who reflects those teaching more and antiquity as it pertains to the Moors in Spain? From my perspective, the conversation could be, dealt and totally killed in this introduction. But, sometimes first round knockouts, are a little, they're exciting, but they're boring at the same time, because the fight is over and you expect, if you've seen a Tyson fight, or, used to be like, yeah, let's buy the Tyson fight. And then 30 seconds in the fight, bam, he knocked out. But, just speaking on the authenticity of hadiths, we have to understand what hadiths are. Hadiths are, ahadiths are sayings, traditional sayings that are recorded from the Prophet Muhammad. So it's oral tradition. And oral tradition is something that goes back, that starts in contemporary times as well as antiquity. To have a tradition that people pass on the lessons and tradition by word of mouth and by action is something that is natural to do. It's something that is certainly African. It's something that is instilled in melanated people. And to say that that is not an authentic form of passing on knowledge is totally ridiculous. So the ahadith, which is plural, meaning that these are many hadiths, and as it pertains to the Prophet Muhammad, Ibn Abdullah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, may peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, as well as some of the companions, the tabi'een that was around him at that time. And then, you even have some of those people after that, those times. So, for me, the argument is killed there, that oral tradition is something that Africans, something that Black people, something that intelligent people will always use in order to reinsure and that the whatever the customs and traditions are, they are being passed down generation by generation. these hadiths happened to be collected in a book form. And of course, there's a methodology as to determining which one we will take, which one is considered to be sahih, authentic, which ones are considered to be makhruf, good, which ones are considered to be da'if, weak, and which ones we just overall what we're going to accept and what we're not going to accept. So the bottom line is if it's something that is good and it's something that doesn't contradict the Holy Quran in itself, of course we can accept that tradition with no problem. There's no fault in it. There's no wrong in it. There's nothing wrong with accepting something that is good. Like we have hadiths, for example, in Bukhari that says, the title is like for your brother what you like for yourself. By God who holds my life in his hand, none of you can truly can be a truly faithful Muslim unless he likes for his brother what he likes for himself. How can you deny something, an oral tradition like that? Why would a person deny an oral tradition like that? It doesn't make any sense or any logic. For us to say that something is not authentic because it says like for your brother what you like for yourself, and you can't be a true Muslim if you don't believe that, if you don't practice that. So yes, let's just throw that hadith away because we don't need that good thing. The Quran is clear. Take what is good, discard the bad. It's so simple and so clear. So this conversation is a conversation that was developed and based off of unfortunately, an individual that has their own agenda and mission to attack something to prove that their thing is actually more correct, I'm supposing. But in reality, they're proving that what they have is inferior and makes no sense.
Up, Bashir.
It's basics.
All right. Whenever you get the time, make sure you go to Solar Vision Debate League Power Rankings. That is how we determine who is at the top of the power rankings and who is the best debater. So the link will be in the description. Obviously, you can see the web address right beside me, surveymonkey.com. So we're going to set the timer for 5 minutes. What's going on, Tyvon?
Peace. What's good, family?
All right.
Sharing the wrong screen. Hold up.
Your timer is set for 5 minutes, and your 5 minutes starts now.
Can y'all see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
All right, cool. So real quick, family, I want to make a quick clarification. The brother intimated that, or seemed to suggest that I'm doing takfir on people that and saying that they can't be Muslims if they follow the hadith. I do not make takfir on any Muslims. If you claim to be part of a person of the book, I accept it. I don't disagree with that. However, if you do claim to be part of the book, then I hold you to the book. So I am a Quranist. I do not hold to the hadith of man as being something that can interpret the scripture of Allah, and I base that based upon the scripture of Allah itself. So I'm gonna run through this real quick, family. So take notes. I hope you got pen and paper and all that type of stuff. So here we go. Right off the top, I'm saying, which method is best for identifying and interpreting hadith? Noble Drew Ali's Quranist method or Brother Bashir's Ahmadi method? And he's going to have to identify that method specifically for the people and for me. And if you can't identify the method, you'll see the lack of specificity thereof. So right off the top, I'm saying these are the claims that I'm making, and I'm trying to be clear about a whole bunch of stuff, family. So right off the top, 1, the book of Allah and the scriptures of his prophets are the authentic hadith. And this is stated in the Quran in Surah 2, Ayah 2, Surah 2, Ayah 213, Surah 3, Ayah 81, Surah 23, Ayah 44, Surah 39, Ayah 1 through 2, and also 23. The method found in the Quran to confirm is to confirm the previous scriptures of Allah, not to go out to outside hadith of man. And this is found in Surah 10, Ayah 94, Surah 29, Ayah 46, Surah 39, Ayah 18, and Surah 2, Ayah 285. The Quran asks the defiant question within its pages: in which hadith after this will you follow? In Surah 7, Ayah 185, Surah 46, Ayah 5, Surah 77, Ayah 50. It also says there are those that reject the Quran and accept baseless hadiths. Those who accept a baseless hadiths, right? So what is a baseless hadith, right? And for that, you got to go check out Surah 4, Ayat 42, Surah 4, Ayat 140, Surah 6, Ayat 68, Surah 31, Ayat 6, Surah 53, Ayat 59, Surah 56, Ayat 81, Surah 68, Ayat 44, and Surah 18, Ayat 6. In the Quran, Allah teaches the interpretation of hadith and wisdom. Allah, it doesn't say you got to go to scholars, no ulama, no none of that, right? Allah teaches the interpretation of hadith and wisdom. This is spoken of in Surah 4, Ayat 87, Surah 12, Ayat 6, Surah 12, Ayat 21, Surah 12, Ayat 101, Surah 3, Ayat 48, and Surah 2, Ayat 251. The Sunnah came down before the Quran in previous scriptures with no alteration, is what the Quran stipulates. And this claim is made in Surah 17, Ayat 77, Surah 18, Ayat 55, Surah 33, Ayat 38, Surah 35, Ayat 43, Surah 36, Ayat 62, Surah 40, Ayat 85, Surah 48, Ayat 23. The term Quran and Sunnah are never found in the Quran itself. This is a concept found within the Hadith. The Sunnah is what people believe to be the practice or the way of the Prophet, right? And they go to the Hadith or the Hadith of man to find these ways out. This term, Quran and Sunnah, is never found within the pages of the Quran itself. What's found there is the book, Al-Kitab, and wisdom, the Hikmah, right? This is found in Surah 2, Ayat 129, Surah 2, Ayat 151, Surah 2, Ayat 231, Surah 3, Ayat 48, Surah 3, Ayat 79, Surah 3, Ayat 164, Surah 4, Ayat 54. You can see all of that, right? Also, the Quran never claims books were added to the Bible, as Brother Bashir claims. What the Quran stipulates is that it was mistranslated. And it's clearly spoken of in Surah 2, Ayat 101, Surah 2, Ayat 140, Surah 3, Ayat 78, Surah 3, Ayat 178, or 187, excuse me, Surah 4, Ayat 46, Surah 5, Ayat 13, Surah 5, Ayat 13, Surah 5, Ayat 47, and Surah 5, Ayat 48. The Torah must include the Tanakh and the Injil, Paul's books, etc., the book of Revelation, etc., which is not Paul's book, by the way, or the Quran is false. And why am I saying that, right? Well, the Quran makes the claim that Muhammad's name can be found in the Torah and the Injil, right? However, it's not found within the first 5 books, right? It's found within Isaiah and the Song of Solomon, right? And also it stipulates in the Quran in Surah 3, Ayat 3, Surah 5, Ayat 47, etc., that the Injil is there for people to use as a rule book, the people of the book to use as a guidance in terms of being able to follow the rules thereof, right? So if you're not going to the previous scripture and you don't include these books in the Injil,
your time is up, brother.
Cool.
Damn, Tyvon was going to fuck in. I gotta say, Tyvon was going to fuck in with his shit, man. Y'all motherfuckers, man. All right, let me set the time for the first round. Let me set the time for 10 minutes. Imam.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm setting this timer for 10 minutes. If you haven't done so, make sure you go to that debate league power rankings and rank your favorite debater with them 5 stars, 4 stars, whatever you want to rank them. The link will be in the description. Your 10 minutes starts now.
Yes, family. So, you know, like I said, this subject is not even that serious as far as it pertains for me delivering it to you, because it's so simple in understanding it. Like what you heard was what the Quran says, blah, 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 blah. Surah 3, Surah 94, Surah 4, 442, 4 Surah 17, 5, 6, 57, Surah 36, 62, 4 Surah 2, 1. Bashir said this, Bashir said that. And it's just a bunch of stuff thrown together with no sound information coming forth. So I'm hoping that on his next round, or his first round, that's going to take place after the introduction, he brings us something tangible. He really explains what he's talking about. And rather, not just explaining what he's talking about, can he even point to us the Arabic or the Arabia inside the verses that he's talking about. Couldn't even do that because he says he's a Quranist. Can he even recite Al-Fatiha because he's a Quranist? Which means he only goes with the Quran. Now, I would tell you that the Quran in itself, it tells us, matter of fact, let's start with this. Alif Lam Mim Dalikal Kitabu la Rayba Fi Udallil Muttaqin. I am Allah, the all-knowing. This is the perfect book. Dalikal meaning or referring to something that has that perfection, something that is that greatness, something that is the thing that is subscribed in completion. This is what Dalikal represents. And then it tells you that this is the type of book that is a guidance for mankind. It's a guidance for the righteous. So the question is can one use the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? And the answer is, of course, yes. So let's go through. I want to just go through a couple more hadiths, just for an example. There's a hadith in Bukhari that says, verily, these are judged by the intentions, and for everyone is a reward according to this attention. You have what is termed as hadiths that are telling us about the pillars of Islam, the 5 pillars of Islam, which is testimony by heart and tongue that there is none worthy of worship but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. 2, observing prayer. 3, paying the zakat. 4, performing the pilgrimage to the house of Allah. 5, fasting through the month of Ramadan. These are things that the Muslims most certainly have a consensus of and agreement what the 5 pillars of Islam is. It's very simple. Now, you have hadiths that tell you to try to remove evil. And if you can't remove evil, matter of fact, let's just go to one. If you can't remove evil by your own hands or move something injurious from the road, then at the very least, you should think positively about it, or pray to Allah about it, which is something that reflects the teachings of the Quran. Whomsoever sees something repugnant to morals or faith, he should change it with his hands. If he has not the strength to do so, then by the word of mouth. And if he cannot do so, then dislike it at heart. But he would say this was the weakest of faith. So once again, we're talking about oral traditions that does not supersede the Quran, but rather the things that do not contradict the Quran. It is halal and permissible for us to accept it because the hadiths came from the Muhammad who is the Khatamun Nabiyyin. He came from the Rasul. He came from the one that was sent by Allah to bring the Quran. So the messenger, that prophet and messenger, Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that brought that message in Quran, you're saying that he didn't explain it? He didn't give a commentary of sorts to the people through oral tradition? This makes no logical sense, period. So are the hadiths something that attaches with the Quran as being one? Of course not. But the ones that can be authenticated according to whatever methodology you choose, but our methodology in choosing it is that one of the things is that it doesn't contradict the Quran. The same thing if you go on into the previous scriptures. It's the same rules that apply. If you're reading something in the Injil or you're reading something from the Torah, that contradicts the Quran, we will reject it. But the things that's good, we're going to accept it. It's really not that deep in rocket science. It's really not something that's hard to understand or comprehend. That oral traditions are the traditions that is a part of sublime spirituality. And this is a part of the blessing of Islam, because in the Quran it explains to us that Allah certainly protects the Quran, but he also protects it through men because of two different routes. One of a hafiz of the Quran that remembers the entire Quran, Assalamu alaikum. Remembers the entire Quran by memory. So the only way that this thing will be moved is through the word. That's the blessing of the Quran. Iqra. We are going to recite. The Quran says, if Allah has taught man by the pen. So we was taught by knowledge of the pen. We was taught by knowledge of words. So yes, the words that are in the Quran were passed through Jibril, which was passed to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which was passed to the people. And the Quran was in the minds of the people before it became the book form. That's why all Muslims recite the Quran. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladina an'amta alayhim ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Ameen. All of the Muslims remember this verse. The opening of the Quran. So what am I saying to you? That Islam in itself was built upon an oral tradition before it was made into a book form, because orally you was to hear samatna wa atana. You hear and then you obey, which is also in the Quran. Samatna wa atana. So we hear what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, and then they embodied what he said. And then he taught the people on it. So the people remember what he taught. The same thing that you teach and you give commentary. This is why you have commentary to the Quran. Is the commentary that is in the Quran, is it something that's haram and bad to explain to you what the verses are? How foolish of a thought that is. How uneducated of a thought that is. How hard, for the lack of a better word. It is catastrophic not to use all good things to empower you or make you better. Because the truth of the matter is that a lot of things need explanation for the people that don't understand. So is not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sufficient for a servant? Of course. But do not Allah use men to put the message out or give the message or relay the message to the people? Of course. Does it not also come with explanation? Of course. Is there not Hadith Qudsi, which is said not to be the words of men, but also the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a commentary of sorts that was related from the Prophet Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? How can you be a Quranist but reject the teaching of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam who brought it? How can you be a Quranist and teach when the Quran is clear that some things are metaphorical and some things only Allah and those that are plugged in and have understanding, they're going to understand. So if that is the case, then they are the ones that's going to have to give you some type of oral tradition to help you understand. So the oral traditions are not to contradict that which is in the Quran.
All right, your 10 minutes is up, brother. If you haven't done so, make sure you go and subscribe to Solar Vision ITBM2 and hit that notification sign so you can be updated when we have the next debate, which will be tomorrow. Yeah, brother TJ taking on Tarik Bay. Tyvon Swain-El, you got your information ready?
Yes, sir. Share my screen one more time,
Let me set the timer. And your 10 minutes starts now.
Yeah, I can see my screen. So, all right, so peep the Jedi mind trick once again, family. The brother's trying to make you believe that I do not believe in oral tradition at all whatsoever. And again, no one's making that claim over here, right? What the claim is what is the authorized oral tradition of the Quran or via the Quran, right? And so again, the authorized hadith, and the word hadith is used in these scriptures, right? The authorized hadith are the scriptures of Allah and His messengers, nothing else. The scriptures thereof. The Quran is a recitation. The Quran is an oral tradition in and of itself, right? The Quran is part of the Book of Allah and part of the authorized hadith, right? However, the hadith of man are not authorized via the Quran. And brother Imam Bashir will not be able to point to any verse in the Quran that authorizes the hadith of man, right? And again, so he's saying, so what you need the wisdom of the prophet that he taught outside of the Quran. And again, this is not found anywhere within the Quran. Again, it stipulates within the Quran that Allah Himself teaches the interpretation of hadith and wisdom. And this can be found within the Quran where it specifies specifically in Surah 12, right? Where it talks about the fact that Joseph was given the wisdom, right? And get interpretation of hadith by Allah, right? So I just want to clear that one up real quick, family. But again, so check this out, right? The brother likes to jump on the fact that I do not read nor write Arabic, and I've never claimed to do so, right? And I can recite the Al-Fatih if you want me to, but I have to read it in the transcribed English like I was doing last time, right? But the brother has an issue with that. But peep game. I read and write the exact amount of Arabic as Prophet Muhammad, the unlettered prophet. This is the sign of his prophethood, and the miracle of the Quran is that it came from an unlettered prophet. So I want y'all to understand the difference about what's going to be shown from my side and what's going to be shown from his side. Because he will not show you Quran. He will show you opinion. I'm showing you mountains of scripture he will not deal with, not one time nor attempt to, right? So the last point I wanted to make in my opening round was the fact that the Quran was revealed in a clear Arabic, a clear confirming Arabic, an Arabic that confirmed the Torah that comes before it, right? And not in a confusion brought in a Quraysh dialect, right? And this is spoken of in Surah 16, ayat 103, Surah 20, ayat 113, Surah 26, ayat 195, Surah 46, ayat 12. So Imam Bashir does not read nor write the Arabic of the Quran either. He deals with the Quraysh dialect that was put on the people via Uthman, when Uthman burned all the previous Qurans that were written in multiple different languages, right? And decided that he was going to make sure that all the Qurans were going to be dispatched in a Quraysh dialect. The Quraysh dialect was not the dialect that the Quran came down in. The Quran says it came down in a clear confirming Arabic. And there's a word in the Quran for Quraysh. There is a chapter titled Quraysh. It does not use the word Quraysh for the language it was translated in, or for the language it came down in, right? And so to be clear, when you use this Quraysh dialect, there's extremes in what you find. There's so brother Imam Bashir said that you want to use the hadith that match with the Quran, right? Well, with this Quraysh dialect, there's actually verses in the Quran that go against each other, and the hadith don't help out. For instance, can you beat your wife? Was Aisha 6 or 9 years old when she was married to the Prophet Muhammad? All that kind of stuff, right? With this Quraysh dialect, you get all those extreme concepts in Islam and in the Quran. However, in the clear confirming Arabic, it's not there. And how you confirm is like it says, you go to the previous scripture, right? Surah 10, ayat 94, right? This Arabic confirms the Torah. So you will find in the previous scriptures any clarification for what you need, right? For instance, I'm going to jump into all this right now. premise round one. If the Quran confirms the Torah, the Zabur, and Injil, then where are the 7 Elohim and the 7 other gods mentioned in the Quran that are found in the Old Testament and New Testament, etc. Right? And Imam Bashir should know this because his grandfather, great grandfather, was an Israelite. So these are the Elohim of his grandfather, of his forefathers. He should know this, right? Drawley's clear translation, the only Islam with the Elohim and 7 others. In his last debate with me, he brought up the concept of the Aquarian Gospel in the Circle 7 Quran and admitted the fact that the Aquarian Gospel was a translation of Sanskrit, right? So Drawley's translation is a better translation, and it's a more clear translation. I'll show you why. In one of the chapters that he cited, chapter 32 in the Aquarian Gospel, it's very close to chapter 11 of our Circle 7, and I'll read it off real quick. I'm gonna read off the part that's applicable, right? Dropping down to where it talks about the Elohim. From God's own record book, we read, the triune God breathed forth the 7 spirits, and 7 spirits stood forth his face. Excuse me. I'll start one more time. From God's own record book, we read, the triune God breathed forth, and 7 spirits stood before his face. The Hebrews call these 7 spirits Elohim, and these are they who in their boundless power created everything that is or was. These spirits of the triune God moved on the face of the boundless space, and 7 ethers were, and every ether had its form of life. Now drop down to the Circle 7 translation, right? From Allah's own record book. First and foremost, we say Allah, not God. We recognize Allah as God, right? That's the first thing that's different, right? We break down the triune Allah, same thing. But when we get down to this last one, right? A little bit different. These 7 spirits of the triune Allah moved on the face of the boundless space, and 7 others were, and every other had its form of life, right? Now this is a big thing to understand, right? Because in the Hebrew of the Old Testament and in the Arabic of the Quran, when you look, there is this concept of 7 Elohim and 7 others, right? What is the Elohim? Let me jump into this real quick, right? In Genesis 1:1, it breaks down the fact that they are the God that created the heavens and the earth, right? This is also said in this. These gods are recognized in the Zabur, in the Psalms of David, saying, "I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High." This is spoken of again in the Injil, and even one that Brother Bashir won't deny, where it says, Jesus answered them, citing this verse up here, "Is it not written in your law, I said, ye are gods?" We should be able to find this concept not just in the Old Testament, but also in the Quran, right? Also in the Quran. A Muslim scholar, Ibn Ashur, in his explanation of Surah Al-Imran, suggests that the word Allahumma is of Hebrew origin or of Qatani derivation. And there are citations of this all in Arabic if you want to go check it out, brother man. Non-Muslim scholars have speculated that this term is derived from the divine name Elohim used in the Hebrew Bible. Right? So again, check this out. Genesis 1:1. What's the time?
You got 3 minutes left, brother.
All right, praise the Lord. Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God Elohim created the heavens and the earth, right? In the Quranist translation of the Quran, in Surah 39, ayat 46, it says, proclaim our God Allahumma, lowercase, not uppercase, lowercase, initiator of the heavens and the earth, right? You can find this down here. This is all cited for him, right? In the Quran itself, right? In all the major translations of the Quran, including the Ahmadiyya Quran, this same verse says, say, O Allah, creator of the heavens and the earth. Say, O Allah, creator of the heavens and the earth. Say, O Allah. Say, O Allah, right? The Ahmadiyya version, right? Say, O Allah, originator of the heavens and the earth. In the Quraysh dialect, there is no concept of Elohim. This is a concept that came down from the confirming Arabic that confirms the Torah that comes before it. This Arabic has words in it that Prophet Muhammad didn't recognize. Hence, in Surah 10, ayah 94, he had to go to people of the previous scripture to gain understanding. And even in that debate, Muslims were in the debate section getting at Bashir, talking about he was wrong for trying to say that we don't go to the previous scripture. That's all over the place in the Quran, yeah? Anyway, moving right along. Let me jump into it right here. So those are the concepts of 7 Elohim. There's a concept of 7 other gods, right? And this is a big concept in the Hebrew And a lot of Israelites will catch this because you can worship, you can deal with the proper Elohim or the wrong Elohim. When you're dealing with the wrong Elohim, you're not following God, right? And so this is stipulated in Deuteronomy and whatnot. And what's interesting about these passages in Deuteronomy is that there's this term for other gods and whatnot. However, it stipulates, it confirms the name of Allah at the same point in time. In Deuteronomy 32, chapter verse 15, it says, but Jeshurun being a name for Israel, right, or Jerusalem, waxed fat and kicked. Thou art waxen fat, thou art grown thick, thou art covered with fatness. Then he forsook Eloach. This word right here is Eloach for God, Allah, the Hebrew word for Allah, which made him and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation. They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods. With an abomination, provoked them they him to anger. They sacrificed unto devils, not to Eloach, but to Elohim, the other Elohim, right? The Acher Elohim. Now I'll get into that in a second. The Acher Elohim, who they knew not, to new gods that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not. This concept is also in the Arabic in the Quran when you really go and look for it, and when you understand it based upon the confirming Arabic. And then the Torah, right, or the concept that confirms the Hebrew of the Torah, you get what it's saying here, right?
1 minute left.
So this word here, H312, this is a specific term that y'all see this all the time, but you don't catch it. It's other gods, right? Other gods. It's a specific term called Acher Elohim. Where is it at? Acher in the Hebrew, right? It's also there in the Arabic, right? It's there in 7 verses, no less, right? And I'll break that down even further. But they're there as the Ilahan Achara, right? And this word is a plural form of just the word deity, right? Echalan, right? But Achara is the Arabic form of the Hebrew Achara or Acher, right? So it's other gods in both spots. However, when you go to the modern day translations and even
your time is up, brother.
There's no Elohim. Where are they?
If you haven't done so, make sure you vote for your favorite debater. The link will be in the description. And if you want to check it out, go to one of the advertisements that's on my channel. If you want to vote right now as we speak, because they won't allow me to post the link in the description. But let me set the timer for 10 minutes for Imam Bashir. Imam, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, your 10 minutes starts now.
Yes. See, family, you know, I'm not going to try to confuse you. And like he wanted to say, want to do this sorcery. I'm speaking to you in most layman's terms possible. Now, here's an individual that's going to Deuteronomy and going to the Bible and, you know, claiming that it's the Torah and telling you all of these things. And then he say he's a Quranist. The Quranist is going to the Torah to define a word where the Elohim is not in the Quran, but he's a Quranist. No, he's a Deuteronomist. He has to be a Torahist. Anything but the Quranist. Because the Quran will be absolutely clear. Kul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yulid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Say he is Allah, the one, the independent, the besought of all. He begins not, nor is he begotten, and there is none like unto him. Then, however, when you look at the creation story in the Quran, you find out that the Ruhi, that energy, that spirit was blown into Adam. And then Adam was created out of the Hama, the black mud, the Salsal, the dry ringing clay. So why am I saying these things? I'm saying these things to say that, yes, of course, this is terminology that was in the books of before that's not used because they associated partners with Allah, which is called shirk. So the words father, people referring to Allah as father, none of his attributes reflect the word father, Abba, because he begets not, nor is he begotten. This is clear in the Quran. Surah Al-Ikhlas. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahmanir Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladina an'amta alayhim Guide us on the straight path. The path of those who have not gone astray. The path of those who have not incurred that displeasure. That's the path we want to be on. That's Mustaqim. So the Quran is clear that we want to go to a straight path. Because what did they do to Isa alayhi salam? They made him a God, as in literal, made him the God as the creator of the heavens and earth. And from that, they got the Trinity. And from that, they literally associated partners with Allah in the most disrespectful way. According to the Quran, if you're a Quranist, you will know that it comes from a place of shirk. Let's get back to the topic, though. Just wanted to hit that. Let's get back to the topic about Ahadith being authenticated, because he's saying a whole lot. You could go to chapter 59 of the Quran, verse 8. In the Ahmadi version, and the reason why is because in the Ahmadi Quran, we count Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim as a verse in every chapter. The other Qurans don't count it as a verse. That's why the numbers is off. No major deal or hard to understand there. So the verse says, whatever Allah has given to his messenger as spoils from the people of the towns, it is for Allah and for the messenger and for the near of kin and the orphans and the needy and the wayfarer, in order that it may not circulate only among those of you who are rich. And whatever the messenger gives you, talking about Muhammad, whatever the messenger gives you, take it. And whatsoever he forbids you, abstain from it. And fear Allah. Surely Allah is severe in retribution. So according to the Quran, it is clear that whatever the messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam gives to you, take it. And whatever he says is bad for you, discard it. This is saying to follow his sunnah. Follow what he is doing. This is absolutely clear. Let's go to another chapter in the Quran real quick. Are ahadiths authentic? Are oral traditions authentic? Can a Muslim that has the Quran as its basis use ahadiths to better understand the Quran as well? The answer is yes. It's clear. It only makes logical sense. If you can't understand that, it's not my problem. It's okay. If you don't want to take the good words that Allah said, follow this messenger. If he give it to you and it's good, take it. If he forbids it for you, then don't take it. Listen to the prophet that was sent to him. The Quran says he's Rahmatul Alameen. He's Khatamun Nabiyyin. He's the seal of it all. He's a mercy for mankind. This is the Quran. Let's go to chapter 33, verse 22. 21 in another Quran. Verily you have in the Prophet of Allah, speaking about Muhammad ibn Abdullah, an excellent model for him who hopes to meet Allah and the last day and who remembers Allah much. So it's telling us that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is an excellent model. So once again, when we look at what is termed as hadiths or ahadiths to be plural, if it does not contradict the Quran, there's nothing wrong with taking it, because that would mean that it is actually in agreement with what the Quran is saying, because there's no contradiction there. You can say tomato, I can say tomato. As long as we know what it is. The sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is clear that we ought to follow him. So what you have is a so-called Quranist that tells us he's such a Quranist that one, he hasn't taken the time to learn the language of the Quran, and then he tries to say, oh, this is about the Qur'an. And what he's not telling you is that when Uthman, I just want to jump on this real quick because it's not relevant to the subject. But when those so-called verses were burnt, the reason why they were burnt was because people were writing different versions, and it was not the authentic version, period. Huh?
You got 3 minutes remaining.
It was not the authentic version, so there was different scripts that was not there. And how did they know? Because they were memorized it. So it doesn't matter if you're reading Arabic Fusha or you're reading some type of other form of Arabic script. That doesn't matter. Because if you learn the language, you know Alif, Ba, Ta, Ta, Jim, Ha, Ka. You understand the alphabet. You understand the numbering system. It reads the same. But if he was a true Quranist, he would know this. So what does he do? He goes to some type of sheikh or some type of scholar to help authenticate what he's trying to say, but he rejects Hadith all the way. Now we in the Ahmadiyya Muslim community have our own methodology and don't accept how they accepted Sahih Bukhari as all being authentic, everything in there. We don't agree with that. We look at every hadith, just as Martin Luther King said, you judge the people by their character. We judge the hadith. We judge the hadith by its character based on how it corresponds with the Quran. It doesn't have basis in the Quran, and then we can accept it or reject it from there. The same way that in the Torah, if you read that ye are gods, of course there's context to that. But if you understand the Arabic as well, you will find that in there in a different way and reword it differently, because to show you our relationship with the Creator, but it's not worded as they translated it there. There's a reason for that. That's why it would be knowledgeable to really study and learn the Quran if you're a Quranist. No, you're a Circle 7 Quranist, not a Muhammad ibn Abdullah Quranist. You have no Hafiz, no one who remembered the Quran in the entire Moorish science temple. Y'all haven't brought one. But yet, you have the audacity and think you have the authority to bring the Aquarian damn gospel to the people and try to put the name Quran on it to ricochet. The time for games is to stop. Let's just be real with information, and let's stop being biased, because I'm here to be real with information. I'm here. So you're going to tell me if I want for my brother, want for myself, that it's reported that the Prophet ﷺ said that, and it corresponds with the Quran, that somehow throw that away.
Your time is up. If you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe to Solar Vision ITBM2. What we're going to do now is we're going to start with the second half of the debate, which is who is closest to the Moors in Spain. Who is closest to the Moors in Spain?
Whoa. What's up with the 10th? I thought we were having a round two of like the same way we've been doing all the debates. We had the opening premise round, second premise round. Yeah.
Hold up, we got you. He gets 10 minutes, so for real. Yeah, that was my first on the second round, so he got a second round to go, and then we can move.
Right. Oh yeah. That's my bad. And
then we got the lightning rounds and all that type of stuff.
So this would be the beginning of the second round.
Yes, sir.
So do you want to complete the second round and then start on the other one?
Say that again.
Do you want to do your closing as well?
I would. We can. I'll leave that up to the Imam.
Yeah, let's do your round, and then we can go ahead close that out, and then let's just do the lightning round after the second, debate, and we can bring all that together. I mean, if you want to.
No, I want a lightning round each. No, I want the lightning round on this one, the lightning round on the second one, bro.
All right, no problem.
So we're gonna do it as if it's two debates in one. Okay, cool.
You got it. You got it.
So I set your 10 minutes. Your 10 minutes starts now, brother.
All right. So again, peep the Jedi mind trick again, family. Let me get my screen share on. And so the brother has a problem with the Torah for some reason. I don't know what that is, yeah. But so again, the Quran stipulates. Hold on, let me go into this real quick, yeah. The messenger has believed in what was revealed to him from his Lord, and the believers, all of them have believed in Allah and his angels and his books in plural form, and his messengers in plural form, saying we make no distinction between any of his messengers, and they say we hear and we obey. We seek your forgiveness, our Lord, and to you is the final distinction or destination, right? So, and not only that, again, I gotta go to the Torah. It's telling me, the messenger himself is telling me, the unlettered prophet, the one who cannot read nor write Arabic himself, just like me, it's telling me to go. It's telling all of us to go to the Torah to confirm him, right? So there should be no issue with me doing the same. And not only that, the Quran stipulates in Surah 10, Ayat 94, if we got an issue. So me and Imam Bashir don't agree on this, right? So we have to. We can't even go to the other hadith on this. We have to go to the previous scripture via Surah 10, Ayat 94. So if you are in doubt about what that which we have revealed to you, then ask those who have been reading the scripture before you. So there's no issue for that, right? So let me ask you a question though. Who is this we when it says about that which we have revealed to you, right? He's trying to tell you this whole concept of Elohim has no place in the Quran. And again, you have to cite that in the Quran to say that that's the truth. That all you're giving us is opinion, brother, man. You're not giving us no facts. The word hadith is written in the Quran 26 times, yeah? 26 times. And in one of those times, it specifically stipulates that Allah has revealed the best hadith, right? The best hadith. Speaking about his books, a book, right? In the Quran, right? So going to anything outside of that and the scriptures and whatnot is not authorized. Again, it's something that we see in the fact that, show you again up here, fam. He's got to deal with these scriptures. The only authorized hadith are the hadith of Allah, and these are the scriptures. He can't undo the Quran, right? The Quran is the best hadith, so says itself, right? So in that whole vein, right? We'll jumping past the whole Allahumma Elohim demonstration, right? I want to get into something that's really more important, right? Because the whole point is when you follow this Quraysh dialect, yeah, this Quraysh dialect, you find extremism. Again, he says that the method that his people use is that if it matches up with the Quran, cool. If it doesn't, cool, right? Well, again, I'm stipulating with the Quraysh dialect, there is an issue with how certain words are transcribed in English, and also in how they're argued over in Arabic, right? Via the hadithist lexicons where they don't confirm with the previous scripture, right? So with that situation, there's aspects of the Quran that actually conflict with the Quraysh, not the Arabic that came down in, but with the Quraysh, right? For instance, it stipulates you can beat your wife in one situation, in one situation, but in the same exact situation in another ayat, it says that you send your wife away from you, right? Or if you're trying to figure out the age of Aisha when she married the Prophet, right? How old was she, right? That's not in the Quran. However, the marriageable age is in the Quran if you look at the Quranist method. And with the method, you go to the previous scriptures to find out what the age is. If you just stick to the hadith, there's varying ages in the hadith. You can't tell. Was she 6, 9? Was she 17? Was she 22? But what does it say? With the method of the Quran. Again, right? This is the Ahmadiyya Quran, right? This is the Ahmadiyya translation, right? And if thou art in doubt concerning that which we have sent down to thee, ask those who have been reading the book before thee, right? So we're going to the previous scriptures, right? And we're going to, again, with the Ahmadiyya Quran, right? Talking about the age of maturity in marriage in Islam. How old was Aisha, right? Well, in Surah 4, Ayat 7 in their Quran, it says, improve the orphans until they attain the age of marriage. Then if you find in them sound judgment, deliver to them their property, etc., right? Same concept, right? So, Surah 6, Ayat 153 in their Quran. And approach not the property of the orphan except in a way which is best till he attains his maturity. Attains his maturity. This concept of marriageable age and maturity are the same. So look what it also says in Surah 12, Ayah 23 in their Quran, right? And when he, being Joseph, attained the age of full strength, i.e. his maturity, we granted him judgment and knowledge, and thus do we reward the doers of good. Right? Again, all this is from their Quran. I'm reading from the Ahmadi Quran right here, you know. So in the vein of Surah 10, Ayat 94, or Ayat 95 in their Quran, right? We go to the previous books to find out, can we find out what that age is, right? And sure enough, when you go to Genesis 37, verse 2, it says, these are the generations of Jacob, Joseph being 17 years old and was feeding the flock with his brethren. And you can read after in the story that at that juncture, this is where he gets sold into slavery, right? So 17 years old, one age, right? And again, it says in Genesis 41, chapter 41, verse 46, and Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went throughout all the land of Egypt, right? So we know that this is the age he was, and it stipulates in this chapter where he was translating the dreams and all that kind of stuff and came to power as the vizier, right? So we also see that, so bottom line is between the ages of 17 and 30 is the proper age of maturity and the proper age of marriage and the proper age of maturity for an orphan, right? Now, again, this is specifically just using the methodology within the Quran. If I ask Imam Bashir, can you show me how old Aisha was? He's going to have to go to some hadith, right? And he's going to try to jump around to try to find some hadith that makes her as old as possible, right? So he's not bringing her to you at the age of 9, for instance, right? But he's not, at the same point in time, you'll be able to find so-called sahih hadith, right? That say that she's 6 and 9. So the question is, why would you even deal with the situation like that when it brings you that confusion? When it says the Quran as the best hadith came down as a clarification and in a clear Arabic. And so when we look at the clear Arabic and the clear translation of it, it's telling you to go get clarification in the previous scriptures. And when you do that, you see Aisha had to be at least 17, in between the ages of 17 and 30 to be that mature age. All right. What's my time count, Solomon?
Your time is, you got 3 minutes left, brother.
All right, good stuff. So here we go. Here's another important one, right? Listen up, ladies. Can you strike or chastise your wife in Islam, right? Again, in the Ahmadi Quran, right? It stipulates, so virtuous women are those who are obedient and guard the secrets of their husbands, with Allah's protection. And as for those on whose part you fear disobedience, admonish them and leave them alone in their beds and chastise them, right? And then so it says chastise them, right? But in the same situation, in another part of the Quran, it says, let me read down here real quick. I'll read both of them. Such divorce may be pronounced twice, then either retain them in becoming manner and send them away with kindness, right? Send them away. Don't chastise them, send them away in that situation, right? But check this out, another situation. And when you divorce your wives and they approach the end of their appointed period, then either retain them in a becoming manner or send them away in a becoming manner, right? So here's the question: do you send her away or do you beat her? Well, here's why it's a question, because in the Quran it's a verb. The word used is a verb, right? And it can have two meanings: to strike or to set forth, right? And we can see where most translations says it's to finally strike them, right? Where it also has the same concept of setting forth from something, right? Well, we get the final clarification via the Torah, like it says to do in the Quran. Go to the previous scriptures, right? There's a particular word used in the last two surahs that I read that have to do with the concept of releasing the person, right? And we can check out these words and see that they have to do with the same basic roots, right? These two have the same roots and meaning release, right? Tasrakun and some other stuff, right? So in Deuteronomy 24:1, we also see the same concept and the same word being used, right? So when a man hath taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he hath found some uncleanliness in her, then let him write her a bill of divorcement and give it in her hand and send her out of his house. Verse 2, and when she is departed out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife. That word for departed out right there is the same yatsa. It's the same root and the same basic formation as this word here. You see the yatsa, right? tasrihun, right? You can see where they play around with that, right? Have the same basic concept, right? But you get the clarification even without the linguistic tie, with the fact that it says that she departs from the house. She's not struck in anywhere in that. She's not beaten anywhere in that. And you only get this conflict with the Quraysh dialect, not with the clear Arabic that came down with the Quran. So I want to know from the brother, and what methodology does he use, right, to stipulate? So again, I'm reading this in the Ahmadi Quran, right? The Ahmadi Quran says you can chastise them. How is chastise setting them free in any way, shape, or form? The Ahmadi Quran saying you can beat your wife. How do you clear that up? You're using the Hadithist lexicons, and you can go on the Ahmadi website and see the Hadith you got there, right? You're not choosing to use that use a word to say set forth or to send them away. You're saying chastise them. You're saying beat them in a nice way, right? Even when you go to the Hadith, you're going to talk about, it says to beat them symbolically or beat them lightly. Why are you playing around with the concept of beat in any way, shape, or form when you see people are getting beat down all day because of this stuff in Islam? All because of the mistranslation of the Quraysh.
10 seconds, brother.
And it's clear that in other spots, it's saying you don't beat them, you send them away. So if you actually follow this concept and you follow the translation of the Ahmadi Quran, you're not supposed to divorce your wife in this situation. Women, you don't get a lot. You're not allowed to leave your husband. You get beaten.
If you haven't done so, go to the Debate League Power Rankings. The link will be in the description. Also, for future reference, if you're not subscribed to this channel, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the notification sign so you can be updated on the next time when we're going to have a debate. So we're now going into the closing of the first half of our debate, which is 5 minutes. Let me set the timer.
We're not going into the lightning round?
Don't y'all want to give y'all closing remarks before y'all go into the lightning round?
Right.
All right, how we going to do it? Go ahead.
So I set the timer for 5 minutes for Imam Bashir, and your 5 minutes starts now.
Yes, family. So, unfortunately here, fortunately here, I explained clearly what a hadith is, what's the intentions behind it, and, what's the protocol from our perspective on that matter. However, what you have here is someone trying to throw different things into the pot and see on the wall to see what sticks, see what makes them feel emotional. If you want us to talk about, the Arabic language and want to go in there, we could go into the Arabic language. If he wants to talk about this previous scripture thing, which there's a context there that's totally missing. If he wants to talk about, chastising your wife or beating your wife, we can talk about that as well. But that really doesn't pertain to the subject matter, although he's trying to force it and make it pertain to the subject matter, which is about ahadith, and trying to show that the Torah is actually, the source of the hadith. Now he contradicts himself. He tells you in the Quran, Allah says the Quran is the hadith. But he goes to Torah to go try to show you, because he's still trying to figure out what the context is when he does not know. And then he tells you, well, I know as much Arabic as the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's a damn lie. Arabic was the native tongue of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he knew it well. He knew the Arabic well. Now, when you're talking about writing and everything else, but he knew the Arabic well. He knew when someone said Allah or someone said Rahmat al-Alameen, he understood those words. This guy won't understand these words. He won't understand. Kayf farak habibi wa anta wa hadha kitab. He won't understand this. Not at all. But he's trying to make himself fit like he's the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, this is what these guys do. So, to make you understand, in conclusion, is that Allah clearly said in the Quran that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is an example for you. Whatever he leads you to and he tells you that it's good, stay with it. Whatever he tells you is bad, stay away from it. And of course, hadith, he's getting hadith confused with a book. Because of course, Allah has the best words according to the Quran. Hadith means the words of something. Hadith is not a book. Kitab is book. So Allah does speak the best word. It is through Allah who is the source of the information. So, it's absolutely clear. Of course Allah's word is the best. So that's why we should listen to Allah and listen to his messenger. And when he's talking about the previous scripture, he's not talking to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it's not in the context of going to get the information out of there, but it's telling them to look at the signs of the divine guidance that has always been there and work your way up to understand that Muhammad is from Allah. And so follow his lead. Is the Quran telling us in any way, shape, or form? Because it says those people have incurred thy displeasure. You don't even know the scripture correctly. Because if you really understood the scripture, the Quran was the prophecy that was foretold to come, but you're a Quranist. And then somehow this book that was supposed to come to bring the people into an understanding, that book is only referring them back to the old books. It's foolishness. All because you want to authenticate the no good so-called Circle 7 garbage Quran that's not from Allah at all. That is not no is not an angel, because angels are separate from mankind. Angels are separate from men. And in fact, the angels was made to submit and bow down to man. So Drew Ali will have to bow down to me, since he's an angel of Allah. Because Allah gave that commandment according to the Quran. So it's all games. It's all things that these guys want to play. And let me just throw this out there, even though it's not really pertinent to the conversation. But the verse that he was reading about, why does this one say leave it in kindness? One is talking about divorce. If you're going to divorce your woman, leave her in kindness. If you are with your woman, and the context is if you are displeased with her, she's doing something that is displeasing to you and Allah, there's a process to handling that. Period. We can have that conversation one day, but not with you, because you don't know the Quran nor the Torah. You just throw it on the wall, see if it sticks. It sounds good.
And your time is up.
But not me, bro. Alhamdulillah.
Peace, family. We're going into the final round. Tyvon, Swain-EL, I'm going to set your time for 5 minutes. If you haven't done so, hit that like button. That helps me a whole lot by hitting the like button. Are you ready, Tyvon?
Yes, sir.
Your 5 minutes starts now.
So again, he's trying to say that I don't know the difference between hadith and a book. And again, peep the Jedi mind trick, family. He tried to tell you, and he has a habit of doing this. So I got to point it out now. Yeah, he has a habit of trying to say something is there that is not there, or trying to say I'm confusing something that's not there because I'm not fluent in Arabic. Again, I read and I write just as much Arabic as the Prophet, and that was my claim. Nothing more, nothing less. And so we can go to the verse outside where it says Allah has revealed the best hadith, a book, and we can see that there's the word hadith right there, and there's the word for book right there, separate words. It's not the same word like he's trying to make you believe it is, yeah. And on top of that, right, let's just jump to this real quick, yeah. So, well, all right. Before I jump to that, let me clear something up about what the Quran actually has to say about about itself, right? And so, again, in Surah 2, ayat 285, it's stipulating that the messenger believes in his angels and the books and all the messengers that came before him, right? So I don't know why Bashir got a problem with that, right? And again, it stipulates. Hold on, where am I at? Where'd it go? Where's 381 at? There we go. Bam. There we go. It stipulates, and recall, O people of the scripture. And again, that's not there, the people of the scripture part. When Allah took the covenant of the prophets, saying, whatever I give you of the scripture, of the book and wisdom, right? So he's trying to tell you that it's not all one book and it's all one book, fam. But at the end of the day, he's not giving you a solid methodology on anything, right? At the end of the day, the Uthmanic Quraysh translation leads to extremes that Muhammadan Arabic does not. At the end of the day, the method in the Quran for interpretation and clarity is prescribed by Allah, not man, prescribed by Allah. At the end of the day, Bashir has not been able to explain a clear method in choosing which hadith of man are authentic and which are not. There is not an accountability in his prescribed method, whichever method that is, right? Bashir can't explain why the Elohim of his forefathers are not mentioned in either the Hadithist translations or the Ahmadiyya translation of the Quran, and we see that it's there, right? And again, I'll show you this in Arabic, right? So it says, hold on, where's my 39? Where's my 39? There we go. No, not that one. Surah 39, ayah 46, right? There's a word there for Elohim, and he's trying to tell you that it's not there. Allahumma, Allahumma, Elohim. You can hear it right there, fam. That word is not Allah. Off the top. Bashir can't explain why Aisha was at least 17 years old without relying on the conflicting stories of the Hadith, right? Bashir can't explain why the Ahmadiyya translation of the Quran permits chastising / striking unhappily married women when the Quran and the Torah of his forefathers point towards divorcing that woman and not interfering with her freedom. You let her go. All right? You let her go. What's my time, bro?
Your time is, got about 1 minute left, bro. 1.5 minutes.
So going into this crossfire round, right? Going to this lightning round, right? We're gonna get into all the things that Imam was talking about, yeah. Particularly, so if he speaks the Quran so well, or he speaks the Arabic of the Quran so well, why is it that he's not telling you that word for perfect is not there in the book, right? Or in the Quran, in Surah 2, ayah 3, right? In his Quran. Why is he not telling you that his Quran is the only one that translates it as that? And also his Quran translates the same word as the word that in every other format that it comes up in. It doesn't come up as perfect. Dalika. It doesn't come up as perfect in the Ahmadi Quran. It comes up as that or this, right? Y'all can see it right here, right? But we'll get into that, fam. Like the brother said, he wants to, and you should. Hey, bro, Imam, you should have seen this because I tagged you in this when I made this on the 2nd. You should have seen I tagged you in it, yeah. So you can't run from none of this. You can't say you didn't know none of this stuff, yeah. Dalika does not mean the perfect book anywhere in any translation. Only in the Ahmadiyya translation. It means that or this or even thus, depending on the spelling of it. So with that, family, we'll get into all the rest in the lightning round.
All right. If you haven't done so, make sure you hit that like button. I see it's about close to 40 people up in the building. We're going to set this time up for about 15 minutes so y'all can get it in. And yes, sir. Let me know who you think is winning so far, in the comment section, so we could, just keep up on the information, and engage the information. I see Tyvon Swain-EL came with a lot of arguments. The 15 minutes is set now. Imam Bashir, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready, Tyvon Swain-EL?
Yes, sir. Your
15 minutes starts now.
Go ahead, Imam. Okay. So was the Quran revealed in a clear Arabic or the Quraysh dialect? Yes or no?
What do you mean by clear Arabic, brother?
Okay, what does the Quran mean by clear Arabic, Imam?
You tell me what words is referring to the Quran Arabic and what verse is it that means clear Arabic? Tell me.
You gonna keep playing games? Okay, so you already, so the Imam already, the Imam already admitted
clear Arabic and the words, like you just did all the other stuff. Show me the words clear Arabic in the Quran.
Where's your Islam, brother man? Wow, where's your Islam? You sound kind of touchy already. You know what I'm saying? So the Imam already admitted. The Imam already admitted. The Imam already admitted that Uthman changed and burned the Quran. Except, so let's go on to the next question. Does the Quran say Allah or Elohim in Surah 39?
Wait a second. Before you go to the next question, because I get to deal with that one. Now, I clearly
you don't want to deal with it. You said you didn't want to. You put it to me. You put it to me. You put it to me. So now I'm asking you another one.
I'm asking you the question back. This is a lightning round.
Oh,
and this is why I get a little frustrated with you, because you don't really want to learn. Because if you want to learn and you hear the teacher speak, you will hear it. But you want to get a point so bad where you're not getting any points. You're shooting blanks all day. Now, your first thing was the Quran revealed in a clear Arabic or a Quraysh Arabic? Now, when you formulated this question, where did you get, was the Quran, the question, revealed in a clear Arabic? When you formulated this to type out, where did you get that from, clear Arabic?
From the Quran.
Show it.
Oh, hold on. Let me get my typing niggas over. So while you're wasting time on this, I'm asking another question, yeah?
No, get that first. Focus on one thing at a time.
Okay. You know what? Hold on. I got it right here. Bam. Wasting time. Wasting time, bro. That's the one I need to look up. There we go. Arabic. Let's go. Bam.
I mean, you formulated the question.
Yeah, sure did. Clear Arabic, right there.
Okay, read that. Let's read this, brother. Let's read this. Now let's see where.
You have a question, because I just answered your question. I just answered your question.
Hold on. Go back.
Your question. It's my turn.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Because I'm about to show.
You asked me where I got it. I just showed you. So now it's my turn. So fall back.
Right. Hold up.
Hold up.
We're not done with that.
Hold up. Nothing. It's my turn.
No,
why are you running?
Playing, bro.
Why are you running?
I'm not going to answer another damn question. We're going back to that.
I'm sorry you don't know how to ask a good question. I'm sorry that you waste. I'm sorry that you waste your questions, yeah.
You formulated the question for me, so I'm gonna answer the damn question. Now you showed us. Now let me show you.
You're not gonna. So you already denied answering. You already denied answering the question. Now I answered the question you asked me, so now I'm gonna keep going with the rest of my questions, yeah. So now that you wasted so much time, let's jump into the meat of it all, yeah. So, are there any Sahih Hadith that say Aisha was 6 or 9 years old when she was married to the Prophet? Yes or no?
Go ahead, brother. You tell the people.
The answer is yes. So, what Hadith do you use, or what method do you use to prove that she was not 6 or 9?
You tell the people, brother.
I already showed them my method. I use the Quranist method where I go to the previous scripture, right? Where it stipulates that the mature age of Joseph was 17 to 30, yeah?
Okay, so if there's a mature age, yeah. I will jump on that with you, because I'm already cutting you and you don't even know. If there's a mature age, so Joseph's 17, so that's the age of maturity. So how do you equate in her age to being 17? Where you getting 17? Why was she 25? Why wasn't she 30? Where are you getting that she was 17 out of the previous scripture?
So like I said, if you was listening, her age would have had to have been between 17 and 30, because that is the age of maturity.
Okay. So you saying Aisha Radhiyallahu anha was between 17 and 30. Which one was it? Because we know that was his wife.
How about you tell me via your method which one she was?
So how would we know what age between 17 and 30 she was, according to your method, your proper method? Tell me.
So you're asking multiple questions now. So I'm going back to my question. Yeah. So via your method, what age is Aisha? How do you find out that she's not 6 or 9? Or are you okay with her being 6 or 9? Are you okay with Aisha being 6 or 9?
I'm going to answer that.
Okay, love to.
But before I answer that, Mr. Koranis, tell me, how old was she between 17 and 30? Where did she fall in that? How do you come up with that age? With the age.
So the Quranist answer to that is it's the specific age is not in the Quran, hence the general age is given.
Okay, so would you say that the Prophet Muhammad was married to Aisha? Would you say he was married to Aisha?
So you're asking me a question, yeah? And you're supposed to be answering the question. So what's your methodology? What's your methodology?
I'm going to answer your question. Trust me.
Answer the question. Then answer the question and stop wasting time.
No, student, you're going to answer the questions and then I'm going to answer your question. I'm going to get to your question.
He got nothing for you, family.
Now,
he endorses pedophilia, family.
I'm asking you, was he married to Aisha? Yes or no?
It's your turn.
Was he married to her?
It's your turn to answer the question. What's your method? What's your method for determining her age, period, if she was or was not married to him?
Go ahead, man. Come to class and I'll teach you that. Come to class, I'll teach you that. All
right. So what you're telling people is you got no method.
So now that we got that over with, was the Prophet Muhammad married to Aisha? Yes or no?
So you refusing to answer the question. So I'm going to ask a question you're going to answer, right? So here's my question. What does chastise mean in the Arabic of the Quran in your translation where it says that you can chastise your wife? In Surah 4, Ayah 35 for your Quran. Does it mean that you can strike your wife or that she can go forth?
Go ahead, brother. You got the top. You got the top. Go in. Just go in.
That's the sound of
Just go in, brother. Just go in. Just go in. Go ahead. Go in.
All right.
Go in, brother.
All right.
Yeah.
This is y'all's Quran, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
This is your Quran, correct?
Break it down. Yes, break it down. Read that Arabic. Break it down. Break down the words.
I'm asking you to break down this word, chastise them.
Break down the words.
So I'm asking you as the Imam, does it mean to strike or to go forth?
See, this is what I'm saying. I don't patronize me. If you do want to know, then you're going to go back and we're going to go through the succession. So I can't answer these questions for the people. I want to answer all these questions that you're asking for the people.
Then answer the question.
For them, but you made tons of claims where you said that Aisha was a certain age between 17 and 30. I'm going to get to the methodology that I use to figure that out. But first, I want to show that you don't know what the hell you're talking about. So if you say that she's between 17 and 30, according to the Bible, how do you come with a precise age? You said you did not know.
I use the same method in the Quran. Hold on. Easy, buddy. This is the method I'm using from the Quran, right? Surah 40, Ayah 67, right? It is He who created you from dust, from a sperm drop, then from a clinging clot. Then He brings you out as a child. Then He develops you that you reach your time of maturity, right? So the Quran is breaking down stages of life. Then further that you become elders. It's not breaking down specific ages, right there, is it? Is it? So I actually gave you to specify the general age that you have to go by in order to understand the age of maturity. So unless you can tell me, right? Unless you can, with your method, how old is an orphan at their age of maturity when you give them the property? How old is the age of marriage? Period. Right? So I gave you an age. 17 to 30. So like the age of maturity starts in terms of marriage starts at 17. The age where the orphan gets the property, 17. What's your method for finding that out via your hadith?
Okay, listen, bro. It's a simple elementary question.
I can't call you Imam until you start standing on Islam.
Answer it so we can move on. Just answer it so we can move on to the other questions.
Admit you can't answer it. Just admit you can't answer it. Admit you got nothing.
Did the Prophet Muhammad marry Aisha? Yes or no? Were they married?
The Quranist answer is, like I already gave, is that information is not in the Quran.
Okay, so Aisha wasn't married. Now, to Muhammad, you don't know. Now, the oral traditions of the people, we know that he historically lived. Those of us that say that Muhammad is legitimate, So if he historically lived, there was records that was taken, and there was people that was talking.
So what is your method for finding out if she wasn't 6 or 9? Because the Sahih Hadith say that she was 6 or 9.
You don't know a damn thing. You don't know a damn thing. So
prove me wrong with the methods versus just bro.
I'm not even trying to be rude, but the way you're talking shows your ignorance, and you can't even see it. Because you can't understand or comprehend the basic questions, the elementary questions I'm asking you, so we can get.
So, what is the age of maturity in the Quran? What is the age of maturity in the Quran?
Brother, the age of maturity is when it varies, but it comes into when after you come out of puberty. For one, is one sign.
Show me in the Quran. Show me in the Quran.
After you come out of puberty, is one sign.
Show me in the Quran.
Understand? This is common sense, bro. You go find it. This is common sense. Show me in the Quran. I did find it. And what you're saying is you have no method for determining that she was not 6 or 9. So when you have these other Muslims in other countries that use those hadith, those same Sahih hadith to marry young girls, I'll tell you what. Go to my YouTube page. Go to my Facebook. And then I did a whole lecture on Aisha's married to Muhammad according to the Ahadith, showing the true age of her and the ages that she really was according to the Hadith.
So what's her
methodology? The methodology that I showed you, is understanding Islamic history.
What's her age? What's her age,
understanding. Yo, be quiet for a second, brother.
What's her age via the Quran and via the Hadith, bro? What's your method, because anyone can go look up Sahih. Man, as you keep on talking, matter of fact, go waste time. I'm gonna find this for you real quick, fam.
Like I said, see, you don't want to answer the question of was they married, because he knows exactly where this is going to go. So I've been telling you the whole night what the methodology was. It's apparent that he can't comprehend what I said it was. Which I said was the first thing is if it doesn't contradict the Quran. Second thing, and there's other things that's with that as well. According to Oracle,
in the Sahih Bukhari, all right, this is the most authentic hadith collection, right? It says here, Aisha, when she was a girl of 6 years of age, and he consumed that marriage or consummated the marriage when she was 9 years old, right? Again, like I don't understand what you're talking about, all right? So how do you determine via your method that she was not 6 or 9? And are you okay with her being 6 or 9?
All right, you want to be quiet?
Are you going to actually stand on what you're talking about? Or are you going to just blowing air?
For a minute. Be quiet.
What's your method? What's your method? Because I just showed you in the hadith where she's 6 and 9. In the hadith, she's 6 and 9.
Brother, stop cutting me off. I'm not gonna have this.
Start standing on your Islam. Start standing on your Islam, and I don't have to cut you off.
Stop talking over me, brother. I'm asking you to stop talking over me. Because now you're being disrespectful. You're being disrespectful now. You're being disrespectful now. Because you don't know a damn thing, to be honest. You really don't.
You're disrespecting the people calling yourself imam is what you're doing. Because you're not teaching nobody. You're saying, come follow my class. Come take my class. Brother, we're here.
How would you know? How would you know?
You could have told everybody this at the last hour.
The Temple of America don't have nothing that pertains to the world of Islam. What the hell are you talking about?
All right, now let's keep it with the information, family. We want to keep it with the information. You got a question that you want to ask the brother Bashir?
All right. So first, I want to clarify first. And then I got a question. Now, he goes and he says, well, this is a Sahih Hadith about Aisha's age, etc., etc. When I clearly established that we're not taking each of the book of Hadith, I already said that, and making the books Sahih.
Okay, now, narrated by Aisha, 6 years old. Narrated by Aisha, 6 years old. What you doing with that? All right? What you got for that? What method in your school do you use to throw that one out, right? Aisha herself is saying she's 6.
Listen, bro, I'm gonna say it one more time. I'm gonna tell you one more time.
Got nothing. You got nothing. Go ahead.
You keep talking while I'm talking. Okay, it's all right. It's all right. Go ahead, brother. Teach. Go ahead. Go ahead. You know so much when you don't know a damn thing, so it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I'm not wasting my time when you don't know. and you don't want to listen. It doesn't make sense. You cannot have a conversation and learn the information if you just trying to build on something.
1 minute left. You guys got 1 minute left.
You're trying to take all 3 debates because you already know what's been happening and you want to throw them all in one little thing and stick to the wall. It's not going to happen. If you want to bring scholarship, learn how to debate, learn how to get information for the people. Now, as far as Aisha, there's a methodology where we can show you that those hadiths are not accurate. And you do that according to the other oral traditions and finding out certain things, such as when did they claim they were married? He had daughters. He had children. He had other wives. So what is the timing between these things? So there's a whole life surrounding him that you have to look at. And if you're intelligent using mathematics, logic, reason, and science, and then you understood the Islamic study, and that was your field of study, you'll be able to come to the conclusion and say, hey, she was not 6 or 9 years old. This
so
is
was
a
she
fraud.
older or younger than 17? Because you ain't saying nothing. All right. You talking, but you ain't saying nothing.
No, brother.
Was she
she was older. She was around 18, between 17 and 19 years old.
So what you're saying is that via the method of the Quran that I used, without having to touch the hadith, you're saying that she was over the age of 17, right?
I'm telling you that when the marriage was consummated, but before it was consummated, she was about 15 years old before consummation.
And you got this from your she was 15, all right, but it was consummated after 17.
The methodology of studying the ahadith and studying when did the verses of the Quran appear? When was he married to his other wives? When was his daughter? Like I just showed, fam. Like I just showed, fam. Daughter born. You can't even say if he was married to Aisha. So how you going to use a hadith? How you going to use a hadith and you cannot even clarify if he was married to her?
So without confusion, family, this is the point. This is the whole point. Without confusion, I can go that straight line like the brother was talking about through the book of Allah. And tell you and show you that she was above 17. Right? If she was married to her, was he married to her? Like I said, if they were married,
was the prophet married to Aisha? Was he married to her?
So I answered the question, right? If they were married, she would have to be above 17 via the marriage age of the Quran, which you find in the Quran's method.
Was he married to her? Yes or no?
Was she saying she was 6 years old in the hadith?
Married to her, yes or no?
I answered that question already. What is Naisha saying she's 6 years old?
To her, yes or no?
Is Aisha herself saying she's 6 years old? I answered your question already.
He married to her, yes or no?
I answered that question 3 times already. Yeah. I'm sorry you don't pay attention. I answered it already. Via the Quran.
Her, yes or no?
It's not mentioned in the Quran. I got no position on that. But
so
if they're married,
no or yes? Or you don't know?
Is Aisha saying she's 6 years old, or no?
Was she married to him? Yes or no?
Since I answered the question, you got to answer mine.
What a fool. I'm done with arguing with fools.
Is Aisha saying she's 6 years old or no? Yeah? So that's what I'm saying, family. That's what I'm saying. There's no clarity in his system, right? I'm saying you disregard all that stuff.
Yeah, my bad. I had to step out for a minute, so it was a little longer than a minute. But we're going to end it right now. We're going to get into the second debate. If you haven't done so, hit the like button. Hit that like button. They was going at it for a little minute. You know, I like the dialogue. Let's keep it civil. You know, no personal shots. We don't do that on this debate league. So, who's going to go first now? We're going to flip a coin, or
give it to Bashir.
Over the Tyvon swing now. How we going to do it?
Nah, give it to Bashir. I got 2 the first time. Let him get 2 this time.
Okay, you want to counter punch today? Okay, so we'll set the time for the 5-minute opening for Imam Bashir, and your 5 minutes.
Tell the topic before we start, brother.
Okay, the topic is who are closest to the Moors in Spain? The Moorish Science Temple of America or the Ahmadi Muslims? So, are you ready, Bashir?
Yes.
Your 5 minutes starts now.
Oh man, yes, I have to really be mindful of the people that I allow to step in the arena with me. I really do. I'm too much of a vet for this. I'm an old head in this game now. You know, we're talking about the Moorish Science Temple, I guess, versus the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, and which one is closer to the Moors in antiquity that took over Spain. Once again, this is another thing that really, for the one that has their eyes open and really looking for information, they would say that it would have to be the Ahmadiyya Muslim community and Brother Bashir that is closer to what the Moors practice, because they make masjids. They call themselves Muslim, not Muslim. They call themselves sheikhs, imams. They had a caliphate under the Uthman Empire. They had the caliphate, which is a successorship that is in the Quran. So everything about those Moors in antiquity reflects the 5 pillars of Islam. And guess what? It also reflects the usage of Hadith, the usage of the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the usage of the Arabic language, as well as speaking, as well as writing it. Words like algebra, admiral, alcohol were abducted from the Arabic because of those Moors that went into Spain and conquered Spain, conquered those Europeans, those melanated people. So it is, without a shadow of a doubt, those that testify, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. This was the kalima that was written. You go in the Moorish Science Temple, you never see a kalima written on a wall. In fact, they're not called masjids, they're called temples. They're not called Muslim, which is in the Quran as Muslim, that has the vowels of the Arabic, but they say they're Muslims. And we give them a pass because we know that they are following something that was just created out of, you know, the Aquarian gospel. And so because they love Islam and they love the Moors, we give them their love and their credibility for loving Allah because they say Allah. The Christians say Allah as well. That's in Egypt, that speak Arabic. They use the word Allah as well. So Mansa Musa and these great powerful minds in Timbuktu and Mali, etc. Those were the people that held the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And how do we know? Because the kalima was written. Ask this guy, where's that kalima? To repeat and profess and bear witness to Allah and His Messenger. Where's the Hafiz of the Quran? How did they attach the Circle 7 Quran, or try to attach the Circle 7 so-called Quran, this mostly plagiarized book from the Aquarian Gospel? How did they attach that to the Quran of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? How do they equate making the salah or calling the adhan as something that relates to them? Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. They had muhazzins, those that called the prayer to the salah. Do you find this in the Moorish Science Temple of America? Of course you don't. And if you do, he made it up yesterday, and alhamdulillah, he's coming closer to what the Moors had. He'll be coming closer. But them as an organization, is no way they reflect the life of those Moors in antiquity. This is baby history and baby knowledge that you need in order to prove this. So I'm gonna let him go all deep and try to convince you in the boogeyman. I'm gonna let him convince you that he's more inclined or more than following the Moors' culture and history better than they are an Ahmadi Muslim when they were Muslims that went into the Spain. This is facts. In fact, it came down to conquer. They ran that land for 800 years, and the regime came from Arabia to Egypt, etc. under the third Caliph Rashidin.
Your time is up. Shout out to the chat room. Shout out to the chat room. If you haven't done so, hit the like button. And also, if you're interested in choosing your favorite debater, go to the Debate League Power Rankings. The link will be in the description after this stream. Tyvon, Swain-El, are you ready?
Yes,
for your
sir.
opening remarks?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to set the timer for 5 minutes. And your 5 minutes starts now.
So, real quick, family, I want y'all to understand the argument that the brother is making, right? So it's not that we're not Muslim enough, right? It's that we don't, or it's bottom line, we don't imitate Arabism enough for him, right? Like, so in the first debate we had, it was the concept of should we have an Islam that looks like us, right? And he basically said, no, you need an Islam that looks like my teacher, right? And so we're going to find that he's saying we don't imitate his teacher enough, or we don't imitate an Arab enough, or something of that nature, right? But let's really get into it. The question is, like, what did the Moors in Spain practice when they took it over, when they got there? What was popping off, right? And here's the truth of it all. And this is what the brother doesn't want to admit, because he's caught up in trying to imitate an Indian person imitating an Arab, yeah? That's not what the Prophet brought us. That's not what Prophet Noble Ali brought us. He brought us an African Islam that looked like us, walk like us, and talk like us, right? With our names and our clothing and all that type of stuff, yeah? So let me break this down real quick, right? Moors made their own way. Moors did not have a specific school of law or jurisprudence or madhab in 711 AD when they went into Spain and conquered Spain. The leader of the oldest Islamic school of law was 12 years old at the time of the Moors conquering Spain. So what does that mean, family? That means that the Islam of the Moors, when they conquered Spain, when they were doing their thing, they used a formless Islam, a cultureless Islam, an Islam that was not bound by the jurisprudence of the Eastern schools or by the Abbasid and Arab dynasties that were not of African descent. Yeah. Point number 2, the Moors fostered many schools of thought in Spain and Al-Andalus, the Maliki school, the Zahiri school, and many Sufi schools at that, right? They fostered a universal form of Islam. Again, a formless aspect of Islam. So did they rock with the 5 pillars? Yeah. But what were their 5 pillars? Was it mandatory that you pray 5 times a day? No, that was not mandatory. As the Quran doesn't mandate that you have to pray 5 times a day. And the brother can't show you in the Quran where it says 5 times a day. There's 3 that are mandatory and there's a 4th that's optional, right? Can you pray 5 times? Yeah. But you don't have to pray 5 times. That's the point. The brother's going to try to make you believe, unless you follow these specific restrictions that we can see that come after the Moors, right? They come after the Moors. These different schools of thought, these different madhabs, they come after the Moors, right? He's saying, unless you restrict yourself to those madhabs, you can't be of the Moorish descent. And that's the true Moorish Islam was a formless Islam, was a faceless Islam, was a cultureless Islam. So it could be African when we needed it to be African. You feel me? Point number 3, the Moors were independent in the Islamic world economically. Economically. They did not pay taxes to the caliphs of the East and had more gold than the caliphs of the East, as you know, with Mansa Musa, etc., right? And the thing about the Ahmadi Islam is you do not pay into an African kitty, or you do not pay into an African pot or a treasury, right? You pay into the Ahmadi Caliphate system. You're paying taxes into people into the East, right? Moors didn't do that. We paid stuff to ourselves, right? And when we went other places, we went balling and dropped money to the point to where people went broke, or people couldn't deal with the amount of gold we were dropping, yeah? We were independent financially, and we were independent religiously for large periods of time. Like I said, we fostered many schools of thought. Schools of thought came to Al-Andalus. Multiple schools of thought were fostered at the same point in time. Same point in time, including Quranist and Karaite Jewish traditions in Al-Andalus, right? Moors were the custodians of the Egyptian culture. I'm going to, one more time, the custodians of the Egyptian culture. We see that from George D.M. James in African Stone Legacy, page 40, right? The Ahmadiyya Muslims are not claiming to ever have been the custodians of the Egyptian culture or bringing that to African descent people. When you go into the practice of the Moorish Science Temple of America, you see many things that wax reminiscent of the Kemetic schools of thought. First and foremost, we talk about Egypt being the capital of empire, but we also use Kemetic type of learning in the school system, to where, or in the temple system, where we have a Q&A form of learning things with the questionnaire. That concept you can find back in Kemet. You don't find that within the Ahmadiyya system, right? They don't make the claim of being linked to the Egyptian culture, whereas the Moorish Americans do. Moorish Americans share bloodline with the Moors. The Negro Act of 1740 of South Carolina stipulates the Negroes are slave Africans and ancient Berbers. Moor etymologically means North African Berber. There's nothing about Ahmadi that links you to that. There's nothing about being Ahmadiyya that links you to that. All right? Moorish Americans share the tie to the land of the Moors, i.e. Northwest and Southwest Africa, etc. Right? The Moroccan Treaty of Peace and Friendship was used to not just free somebody who was of Moorish descent, but somebody who was of Fulani Moorish descent back before the Dred Scott case happened.
10 seconds, brother. 10 seconds.
Brother Abraham Ibn Sari, you can see this, right? He's a prince of slaves is what they call him, right? Last thing I say is Moorish Americans share the same form as Islam of the Moors, right? Custom cannot alter the nature of truth. Truth is but one. These are words found within the Circle 7.
And your time is up. Peace to the chat room. Once again, hit that like button. Hit that like button. That's very important for me. You know, it helps my channel a whole lot. Hit that like button and also share it on social media. Share the link on Facebook and all that good stuff. We're going to set the timer for the first round. Imam Bashir, are you ready for your opening round?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to set the timer for 10 minutes. And your 10 minutes starts now.
So, our brother tells us all of this good stuff to appease to the people. Oh, they was African. They were black. Yes, they were. The so-called Islam, it's African. It is black. But the very man, Noble Jew Ali, tells you before the Circle 7 gets started that the information in this book is coming from, was held secret by those Muslims in India first. This is what he's saying. By those Muslims in India, Egypt, and Palestine. In fact, none of the secret knowledge did he directly say came from African people. Facts. In fact, to use the word African is something that is taboo to the Moorish Science Temple of America. Islam and to be Muslim does not hold any racial barrier as far as identity. The people hold the identity that they are. But their religion is Islam. So those Berbers that was falsely named Moors, and that name came from those Europeans that essentially was calling them a name, just like they call many folks names. Whatever the argument may be, they became to be known as Moors, but they were Berbers. Tarik ibn Zayd, he was commissioned to go into Gibraltar and run into Spain and do their thing there and take over. That order came from Mecca. This is historically true. Under the third caliph. So if we count the caliphs or the successors of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we can see that this was 100 or almost 100 years after the passing of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We're talking about 711 AD. So yes, there were no schools of thought created. There were no schools of thought that were supposed to be created from the beginning. That was something that was bid'ah, or innovation. So he tries to tell us that, you know, they didn't have a culture. How is it people don't have a culture? Not having a culture would be a culture. But it's funny that these Berbers, these Africans, these black people that were also mixed with those who was from Arabia, from Egypt, from the lands of Mali, Timbuktu, etc., a combination of different melanated people uniting under the banner of what is called Islam, sitting down, calling the azan, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, reading and writing the Quran in Arabic, those Moors, writing Al-Fatiha, writing Al-Baqarah, writing Al-Imran, writing Surah Al-Ikhlas, writing Qur'ans. They remember they had Hafiz of the Quran. They ruled that land for 800 years. Do you hear the Moors calling the adhan? The call to prayer in the so-called temple? Never been a practice of Noble Drew Ali. Never been a practice. The Jummah. They did the Jummah at the masjid. Those Moors in antiquity. Friday, making the Jummah prayer is mandatory. These are all the things that Ahmadiyya does. In fact, Ahmadiyya movement in Islam is part of the reason to call him Noble Drew Ali, or that Indian man that he's trying to play. He's trying to say this Indian man is this. He want to turn you into an Indian that want to be an Arab, but his so-called prophet had to get information from the damn Indians. See, these are actions of hypocrites. I'm not calling names. I'm just telling it like it is. So how is it they trying to muddy the waters? This guy here, I'm sure not all Moors are going to try to muddy the waters like this guy, but probably most of them will, so-called Moors. To such a degree that they want to make being a Moor your nationality. When in fact we know that calling yourself a Moor does not give you any benefits in America or anywhere else. In fact, they would not recognize them. And a lot of those Moors at that time did not wear the fez. Not that there's something wrong with wearing the fez, but during that period of time, it was common for the turban to be worn. In that era, there's historians that verify this information. So these were people that made the 5 salats, that understood that to go to a pilgrimage, go to Mecca, was obligatory upon them. That's why Mansa Musa went on his Hajj, as well as many others of those Moors. but they were Muslims. So you want to make this thing like Muslim is to identify yourself as submitting to the Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And yes, it was considered to be what people will call this spook God, this God without yourself. Which the Moorish temple tries to take that away, but then they say the Father Allah and all this stuff. It's nothing but confusion for you. But you can't confuse us because we know who those Moors represent. And in these two categories, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community or the Moorish Science Temple of America, there's no question. There's no question that we are upholding the traditions and the customs of that Islam that we can see in antiquity around 711 AD. So for 800 years, they held those practices before they were overthrown by the Europeans. So the Arabic numeral system was implemented over there. The Arabic numeral system. Not the Ghana numerals or South African, but the Arabic numerals, the Arabic language. They wrote in the Arabic Fusha. So it is clear that until you call in the Adhan, Moorish Science Temple of America, until you're building masjids, until you have an imam, which is also in the Quran, until you establish, until you bear witness to go to the Hajj, until you paying your zakat, until you are doing these things, you don't replicate any of the Muslims in antiquity. Until you stop using the Anglicized mistakes and versions of the words that we know in the Arabic to be there, there's no O there, so you would not have a Muslim, even though we give you concessions for that common mistake. We give you the concessions for writing the Quran as in Quran, because we know you don't really know the language, but those Moors in that time would have understood and would have never made that mistakes because they understood the vowel system in Arabic. They understood it. There's no Mohammed, there's no Muslims.
10 seconds.
It will be Muhammad, Muslim. So you don't even pay attention to the language that they even spoke, that they wrote very well. How are you closer? I am the true Moor. You just come lately Moor.
Yeah, time is up. Time is up. If you haven't done so, hit the like button. Hit that like button. It helps me out a whole lot. You hear the fireworks in the background. There's fireworks on this debate as well. We're going to get it 10 minutes for Tyvon Swain-El to go in. You ready, Tyvon?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me set the timer.
So,
Tyvon, your 10 minutes starts now.
real quick, like, so I'm tired of the hypocrisy of the brother. So I'm gonna just start on this one, and I'm gonna touch on this in another round. But anyway, so this whole concept of Muslim, right? It's beyond hypocritical for him to even talk about this term when the Ahmadiyas were calling themselves Muslims before we were, right? So again, the Muslim sunrise or Muslim sunrise is the name of the Ahmadiyya paper at this joint, right? Juncture time, right? But it used to be called the Muslim sunrise with an O, right? And if you think I'm fronting on that, yeah, like, hold on, where is it at? Where is it at? Where'd it go? Where'd I have it? I just had your boy. We'll do it like this. Hold on, is it right there? We'll do it like this. Your boy, let's Muslim sunrise. There we go. Ahmadi. All right. Let me just for that joint, right? You can see it all day right there. The Muslim Sunrise by Dr. Mufti Muhammad Sadiq, the person who came to the Americas for the Ahmadi Muslims, right? The person he consistently tries to say was the person responsible for our literature, right? Bottom line, we already discussed that in the last debate. He can't draw a linear distinction, but bottom line is Muslim. I don't want to hear none of that stuff no more, right? For real. But getting back into it, right? So, do the Moorish Science Temple of America, do we have a similar, is our Islam reflective of that of the Moors in Spain? The answer to that is, again, 100%. Again, I did not say that they did not have a culture. Again, it's the Jedi mind trick that brother's trying to play on because he knows what I'm saying. He knows 100% what I'm saying. I'm saying Islam does not have a culture. It's cultureless, it's faceless, it's formless. So it can go to any part of the world, to any people, and look like them, walk like them, talk like them. Hence, like the Quran says, every people gets a messenger speaking their language, bringing them the message of Islam. So again, trying to harp on the fact, again, he's harping on the fact that that the Moorish Science Temple of America doesn't make it mandatory that you don't read or write Arabic, right? Not that people don't read or write Arabic in the Moorish Science Temple of America. As a matter of fact, you can look at Azim Hopkins Bey, who was the press secretary and Grand Sheikh for Temple number 11 in Philadelphia, bro. Go check him out, yeah? Fluent in Arabic, reads right there, probably better than you, right? But again, it's not mandatory, bro. It's not mandatory. And it's not mandatory in the Quran that you have to understand all that stuff, right? That you have to read and write Arabic, right? If I'm blind, I'm never going to learn how to read Arabic, fam. Never going to happen. If I got no tongue, I'm never going to learn how to speak Arabic. Do I get the lessons? That's the concept of it being formless, right? So in that vein, right? In that vein, do Moorish Americans follow the so-called 5 pillars of Islam, right? So again, these 5 pillars are formless in a sense to where, and cultureless in a sense to where the specifics of what he's talking about, you have to find in the Hadith and the jurisprudence traditions. These traditions were not there. Again, were not there when the Moors took over Spain. The Islam that they took over Spain with was a formless Islam, a cultureless Islam that was able to look Moorish, walk Moorish, talk Moorish, and allow them to subdue their enemies when need be. Yeah. So let's mob through the pillars, right? So do Moorish Americans say the Shahada? 100% we say the Shahada, right? We have a Moorish American prayer where we say the Shahada. We have a nationality card where we say the Shahada. In chapter 35 in our Circle 7 Quran, it breaks down the whole concept thereof, right? So the pillar of the Shahada in the Quran of Mecca is Surah 3, Ayah 18. Allah witnesses that there is no deity except him. No deity except him, right? Basically, there's nothing outside the scope of Allah. Nothing outside of Allah, right? The Moorish American prayer, right off the top, you see Allah is the Father of the universe. Father, when you look up at any Semitic language, it has the concept of beginning or origin, right? The universe is the sum total of everything in existence. Allah is the origin of everything. Another Shahada, yeah? And on top of that, we say Drew Ali is his prophet, right? In the same thing. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my God, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Drew Ali, amen. That is a Shahada right off the top. Right off the top. Going on to the nationality card, right? We say we honor all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius. May the blessings of the God of our Father, Allah, etc. May the blessings of the God of our Father, Allah, be upon you that carry this card. I do hereby declare you Muslims. Again, there should be no issue with that term, brother man, because we both used it. Yeah, we both Ahmadis used to call themselves Muslims. Should be no issue with that. Yeah, and they did it when they came over here too, right? Muslims under the divine laws of the Holy Quran of Mecca, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I am a citizen of the USA. You know what I'm saying, by Noble Drew Ali, the Prophet, right? Circle 7 Quran, chapter 35, right? Holy instructions from the Prophet on religion. There is but one Allah, the author, the creator, the governor of the world, almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible. The Son is not Allah, though his noblest image. He enlighteneth the world with his brightness. His warmth giveth life to the products of the earth. Admire him as the creature, the instrument of Allah, but worship him not. To the one whom is supreme, most wise and beneficent, and to him alone belong worship, adoration, thanksgiving, and praise. Yeah. We have that concept. Now I'm going to jump onto that one another bit, yeah? 2, contact prayers. Moorish Americans have a standing contact prayer that we make. And what is a contact prayer? Contact prayer, or salat, when you get into it, again, not mandatory that you make 5. And the brother can't cite you a single solitary verse in the Quran where you have to make 5. Cannot cite one. Will not be able to cite one. Not here or in a Q&A round. He'll run. Yeah, he'll run all day. Right. It stipulates that you can stand, you can kneel, you can prostrate. All that is permissible forms of prayer in the Quran that he can find, that he can cite. And Moorish Americans have a standing form of prayer, right, where we face the east, as it says to do in the Quran, and we pray together. A contact prayer is when you're overlapping each other, or you're following the same gestures as the people you're praying with, whether you're in public or in private, right? So the Moorish form of our contact prayer is a standing form of prayer, where we stand on 45 with our fingers on 7, 2 on the right hand, 5 on the left, right? And we have 3 prayers as it stipulates in the Quran of Mecca, right? As a mandatory, not that you can't do more, but what's the mandatory minimum, yeah? On Sunday, when you come to our Sunday school, you get instruction on 3 forms of prayer. A lot of Moors don't even recognize this, right? You get the opening prayer, the one I just read, which is the Shahada in and of itself. When we read the questionnaire in the center of the class, we say another prayer, and a lot of people don't recognize this, right? The questionnaire stipulates, in Key 51, what have you to say about the holy breath? All we can say is that it is great, it is good, it was, it is, and evermore to be. Amen. Right? And we have a closing prayer at the end of the service, right? At the end of the class, at the end of whatever you want to call it, right? And for some Moors, we say it a little bit different. For other Moors, it's another thing, right? But you either say this same prayer one more time as a closing prayer, or you say another prayer as a closing prayer. Allah, bind our hearts and minds back to our ancient forefathers, divine creed and principles. This we ask in thy holy name and the 7 Elohim. Amen. You got 3 prayers, the Amen, 1, 2, 3, that we instruct on the Sundays, on the Sunday schools. And from our Sunday schools comes the guiders of the nations, what we teach, right? So our contact prayers can go from there on. Not that you can't prostrate, not that you can't kneel, not that you can't do any of that, right? The concept is that it's not necessarily mandatory. It's beneficial for you if you can do it. But if you can't do it, you don't have to. But also you don't have to in order to make a salat. Making dua is different than salat. Again, the salat is where we're imitating each other, right? And there is no specifics in the Quran on how to imitate each other. That part is formless. The brother is drawing upon Hadith, which we already proved he cannot stand on. We already proved the Hadith that say Aisha herself was 6 years old. He can't stand on those Hadiths, right? So when you can't agree on that stuff, you throw it out. You stick with the Quran and the previous scripture, yeah? Bottom line, right? Number 3, do Moorish Americans have charity? Do we pay zakat? Yes, we do. 100%. We have a temple tax that we pay. We have an upliftment fund that we pay into, and we have an emergency fund for our people, right? And understand, again, this goes back to we did not pay to the Moors in Spain, did not pay into the caliphs of the East. They did not pay into their tax structure. They were independent financially. They were independent religiously. So understand, we fought.
Hey, Tyvon, unmute your mic. You muted your mic. Tyvon.
That was not me. How long was I muted for? Because that wasn't me.
You was muted for about 20 seconds. Go ahead, brother.
Okay, because that was not me. But yeah, I forgot. Let me make this last point real quick then, right? This concept about Hajj, okay? So Moors make their Hajj. I'll make 20 seconds real quick. Moors make their Hajj to the annual Hajj to convention in Chicago, right? And so the brother said that the Moors were making their Hajj and said, right, let's look at this, right? In AD 980, the Hajj was interrupted and the pilgrimage for those living west of the Nile was directed to Fez as the holy city, right? And the people that manufacturing in Fez supplied a new style of headdress that started to be widely used by the students of a particular school. That hat became a mark of intelligence and came to be worn all along the northern shores of Africa. Fezes of this original form still worn in Tunisia, Tripoli, Morocco, right? We bring you that fez and we bring you the Hajj that says it's okay to just stick with your own. You don't have to go to the east, right? The brother Bashir says that he lies to get into Mecca to go do the Hajj, right? Because they don't accept Ahmadiyya Muslims. They wouldn't accept us either. So we do our own Hajj, like we used to, like the Moors did back in 980 when it was cut off the first time. Peace and love.
All right, family. Once again, hit that like button and choose your favorite debater. The Debate League Power Rankings. The link will be in the description. You just click on the link and select your top debaters. Okay, Imam Bashir, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me set this timer. And your 10 minutes starts now.
You know, family, it's clear to see if you study those Muslims in antiquity that was called themselves Moor or referred to as Moors. Like I said, they didn't make no salat with 5 fingers and 2, and then on a 45-degree angle. They didn't do that. That's not how they made salat. Point blank, period. They did not refer to themselves as Muslims. That's just true. That's the Anglicized version of an incorrect source. They wasn't calling themselves that. And then the brother says, I'm going to show you the Muslim sunrise. And then when he Googled it, you could see Muslim sunrise, Ahmadiyya, Muslim sunrise. Because he's not trying to really understand knowledge, which makes someone like that foolish. Because the fact of the matter is that Ahmadis don't call themselves Muslims, but they did use the terminology to express to these Europeans that had a hard time using the vowels with the tones that we use. So Muslim, y'all want to say Muslim, cool. From time to time. So some literature had the word Muslim. And this is like where Jew Ali got it from too. But they understood Muslim of the Ahmadi faith. It's not Muslim of the Ahmadi faith. So this games that's being played. So he says, this is the Shahada. Did the Moors in antiquity take the Shahada that had Father Allah in there? Is that what the Kalima was that's written on their literature, written on some of their masters there? And Korba? Is that what is written? I think not. But hey, if you want to create a boogeyman and make it up, that's between you and Allah. I can't wait to ask the questions of tell me the Shahada then. Because they certainly wasn't using English as you're using English. And they certainly use Arabic. And they used it so much. It was used and embraced in the Spanish language. Interesting. Very interesting. So the Moors spoke like me when I say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The Moors didn't mention no Jew Ali in their Shahada. And so now that Drew Ali is in the Shahada, I guess Muhammad ibn Abdullah is not Khatamun Nabiyyin to begin with. I guess he's not the seal of the prophets. So let's try to erase Drew Ali and put Muhammad. Let's try to erase Muhammad and put Drew Ali in his place in the Shahada. Let's try to take this Sunday school when Friday can be likened to the Sabbath, when the Quran is clear to leave your work, leave your jobs on the Friday and go make the Jummah. But Sunday is your day. So where's the inspiration really coming from? They claim it comes from the Quran of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's what they claim. They claim that their secrets came from the Muslims in India, Egypt and Palestine. India mentioned first. So how can he be more Moorish than us? Or more of a Moor than we are in comparison to the, you know, in retrospect to the Moors in antiquity? How is that possible? How is he more connected to their practices than Brother Imam Bashir Abdul Haq is at this very moment? Maybe somebody else can be closer to them, but in comparison to the Moor Science Temple of America and Ahmadiyya, certainly Ahmadiyya definitely is more closer. I mean, it's just a matter. I mean, he's trying to put a circle in the square peg. It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. And damn it, if the glove don't fit, you must have quit. So it's enough with these no more lies. No more lies. No more lies from the Moorish Science Temple of America. No more lies. You want to have your fez and do your Sunday school, go ahead and do what you got to do. You want to say Islam and act like you are part of the Moors in antiquity, as if they was making the Shahada and including somehow your form of what that garbage is that you produce. And I know that make it sound disrespectful to people, but I'm not really being disrespectful because it's garbage. It's no Quran that's united with the Quran of Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Point blank, period. So you're a Quranist? No way in hell are you a Quranist. You're a Quranist, but you tried to erase Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and put Drew Ali? Those boys probably would have damn near cut your head off. Bringing this foolishness. And trust me, they would definitely went harder. You gonna say, oh, there was no real form of Islam there. There was the Quran there. There was also the understanding of oral traditions there. And yes, they did have customs that was different than what can be found in other places, but that was not necessarily something that was unique to those people. People in Baghdad was doing it at the time. People in China was doing it like that at the time. Egypt like that at the time. This is how different schools of thought was being able to be developed, but they knew and understood the Sharia. They knew not to take riba. They knew the laws of the Quran with no question.
1 minute remaining.
With no question. So for you to make these false allegations, I feel so sorry for you. For you to try to imply that the Quran itself implies Father. Allah is the Father. He begets not, nor is he begotten. Period. Period. But you want to make it into something else. Astaghfirullahul azim. Now, I'm not for persecuting you because of your beliefs. Allah will be the judge of that. But I will stand up and say, astaghfirullah. What you're saying is countless. It's pointless. It's something that is blasphemous. But you know what? We can try to do some work together hand in hand with no question. Because Allah will judge who deen is upon that which is acceptable to him. Allahu a'lam. As far as the judgment is concerned. But I say that you are nowhere near the Moor. You're looking at the real Moor here.
All right. Once again, if you haven't done so, hit that like button, and also go to the Debate League Power Rankings. The power rankings will be in the description box below after this live stream. Tyvon Swain-El, are you ready for your rebuttal round?
Yes, sir.
All right, your 10 minutes starts now.
So again, peep all the Jedi mind tricks, man. Like, so again, they use Muslim, but they didn't really use Muslim, right? And anyone who takes 2 minutes to do the etymology on the word understands that the word Muslim got anglicized when the English actually ran into the Moors. Hence, you see Shakespeare at the same point in time dropping Moor everywhere, like in Othello, in another place, etc. Right? The bunch of other plays, right? But a whole nother deal right there. You know what I'm saying? Whole another deal with that, right? And again, just to show the family, where is it at? Sharing my screen. Where'd you go? Bam. The Muslim Sunrise. That's not me making it up, yeah? Edited by Dr. Mufti Muhammad Sadiq, right? Not making that up. That's them, right? That's them, right? That's them all day. The Muslim Sunrise. Formerly the Muslim Sunrise. Formerly the Muslim Sunrise. But yeah, that's enough. Just going to jump back right into it, yeah? So we try to talk about our holy day, right? Again, our holy day is not Sunday. That's our Sunday school, bro. Our holy day is Friday. And in the questionnaire that's read on Sunday, it breaks it down. Which is our holy day? Friday. Why? Because Fridays is the day on which man was formed in flesh, and it was on Friday when he departed out of flesh, right? That's, again, same concept you're talking about, like it's like a Sabbath, right? No issue with that, right? We say the same thing. Same exact thing, right? Again, you're talking about the Shahada and whatnot, right? The Shahada of Allah, and you're putting this whole Hadith trip on it, right? Allah didn't say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. He said La ilaha illallah. In other parts, he does say Muhammad is his messenger. But again, like I stipulate, like it's shown in Surah 3 ayat 81 and Surah 2 ayat 85, all like particularly Surah 2 ayat 285, right? All of the prophets are one. There's no distinction between them. Hence, Allah is saying La ilaha illallah. You don't got to put the messengers in there, right? And so again, when you go into our Islam, we have a universalist form of Islam, just like the Moors did, right? To where, again, they foster many schools of thought, but don't mandate any school of thought. Again, they went into Spain and conquered without any Sharia, without any jurisprudence from any madhab. And again, that's proven because the oldest madhab was started by a person who was 12 years old at the time that the Moors went into Spain. But again, going on, right? So we stipulate that we recognize all true and divine prophets, right? Including Muhammad. Just like the Quran talks about multiple prophets that came before Muhammad and unnamed prophets, we declare that we recognize all true and divine prophets, right? Moving right along, right? Hit the contact prayers. Hit that. Again, we pay money into ourselves. We don't pay into a foreign kitty of money. We're not subservient to people who don't look like us, like Imam Bashir would have you be in the Ahmadi community, right? We deal with our own, yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that, yeah. The Quran doesn't say you can't, but it says we were made into many nations and tribes to know each other, not to despise the other, i.e., not to despise ourselves, right? And the brother saying he's the true Moor. Well, let's check this out. The true Moors were rocking fezzes, yeah. And they were rocking fezzes as a result, not even as just as a result, right? But you're seeing how it's having to do with Hajj being cut off. And I'll say this again. I was on the phone with the brother. I told him, if you want to go to Hajj, you got to go to Fez just like me, right? Because you can't get into Mecca just like me, right? You know what he said? No, we just don't tell them that we're Ahmadi Muslims. You sneak to get into Mecca, Ak? You lie to get into Mecca, Ak? We don't do that. We stick with our own just like we did in antiquity. If we're not trying to imitate nobody, we're trying to be ourselves. Like I said in our first debate, Imam Bashir's Islam doesn't bring you knowledge of yourself. It brings you knowledge on how to imitate an Indian person imitating an Arab. You feel me? I'll say that one more time. It shows you how to imitate an Indian person imitating an Arab. That's not Islam. Islam is cultureless. It can get put on any culture and conform to the culture. Hence, in our Islam, in our national Islam, we rock a fez, right? We rock a fez. The brother does not rock a fez. Imam Bashir does not rock a fez. He does not rock anything close to Moorish. Nothing of a Moorish name, none of that, yeah? Nothing connoting any of that, right? Moving right along. Concerning fasting, right? Moors can fast. There's nothing prescribed in our temple saying you cannot fast. As a matter of fact, we recognize the Quran as our authority. So Moors who wish to fast all day long. If you can, you do it. You're not told you cannot do it. If you can, you're more than welcome to do it, right? We also teach on the 40-day fast that Prophet Jesus took within the Circle 7 Quran, that the Bible also speaks about, right? So fasting is not something against any Moorish American Islam. And just like the Quran, if you can do it, you do it. But if you can't do it, you don't have to. It's not mandatory, right? It's a mercy to you. All these things that Allah gave us are a mercy unto us. And trying to conform to something like the brother was talking about is not a mercy, right? That's not a mercy. A mercy is something being formless so we can fit you, right? There was a point in time when I was in bed with a neurological condition, right? I could not stand, nor sit, nor kneel, nor prostrate. I was only able to pray in my mind. Is Imam Bashir saying I was not a Muslim then? You all think about that, yeah? Moving right along. The Moorish call to prayer. He said that we don't make a call to prayer. Act 7 of our divine constitution and bylaws, our Sharia, right? Our law of our sect. All members must attend their meetings and partake in all uplifting acts, etc. And at the meetings, we do the standing prayer. We do the contact prayer. There is not a single solitary meeting that can happen without the standing prayer. It has to open and close with the standing prayer. And again, Moorish Americans follow the Quran of Mecca. As the brother tried to stipulate, we do not. It's cited on the questionnaire. It's cited on the nationality card, which I read, and it's cited in chapter 45 of Divine Instruction 1 of the Circle 7 Quran, which I covered in a previous debate. But so again, I'm gonna deal with this claim real quick of the Indian Muslims, yeah? The Indian Muslims that we got our information from, yeah? Because he keeps dropping on this fact that, oh, y'all dealt with the Muslims of India, Egypt, and Palestine like it's a bad thing, like we're not supposed to do stuff like that, yeah? And right off the top, let me show you something in the Prophet's literature, right? Why are we going to India first and foremost? Why are we going to India? Well, the Prophet teaches that the people in India are also of a Moabite lineage, right? Drop this down real quick. Bang, bang, bang. So it says the key of civilization. This is chapter 45, verse 1, where you can see where we deal with the Quran. This is the uniting of the Quran of Mecca, and the brother was not ever able to bring out a solitary argument or verse that went against anything I said in the previous debate that could prove that this is not the uniting of the Quran of Mecca, right? And I would love to get into that if he wants to again, because again, he cut himself all day in that debate, admitting that Levi Dowling translated Sanskrit documents and did not have anything to be plagiarized. We have a better translation, which I proved in the last in the previous debate, right? Anyway, stipulates the key of civilization was and is in the hands of the Asiatic nations, the Moorish, who were ancient Moabites and the founders of the holy city of Mecca, right? Then it also stipulates the Hindus of India, the descendants of the ancient Canaanites, Hittites, and Moabites of the land of Canaan. So we're claiming that the ancient Hindu people are of a Moabite descent, the same descent that we are, right? So it makes sense that we go over there and get some information. But who do we go to? Did we go to the Ahmadiyya Muslims? No, sir. No, sir. We went to people who were looking like us, talking like us, rocking like us. This is the Moorish Islamic Cultural Home Incorporated in Sri Lanka, right? Like I said, the first Quran I ever got was from a Sri Lankan Muslim brother, right? In Sri Lanka, they have a concept of the Ceylon and Sri Lankan Moors, right? And you see them rocking their feathers.
1 minute left. 1 minute.
You see them rocking their feathers all day. You know what I'm saying? You can see the same thing in India, right? You got Indian Moors, Moorish mosque all day, right? And again, I'm not saying that this is like the only mosque, but what I'm saying is there's a Moorish presence in India and also in Sri Lanka, right? And our prophet linked us to that, right? Linked us to that. And so just to prove that, there's plenty of orders that are Muslim orders that are older than the Ahmadiyya sect that are in India. For instance, a Sufi Sunni order called the Chishti order, right? That goes back past the 12th century, right? This is well within the Moorish time frame. But I'll break down the connections in my last little closeout round with this. But bottom line is he will not be able to show any connection between the Moorish Science Temple of America and his teachers, right? But at the same point in time, you can show all kind of links between the Muslims of India and the Moors. And with that, I'll close out for a quick second. I yield the balance of my time.
Okay. We're going into the closing round. Once again, if you haven't done so, hit the like button. I'll be setting the timer for 5 minutes. Imam Bashir, are you ready?
Yes, sir. I gotta hurry this up, man. I gotta go. Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Your 5 minutes starts now.
Yes, sir. Family, in conclusion, with everything, it's clear that, you know, we have some comprehension disorders here. It's beyond clear that what this brother is representing is just total foolishness. And unfortunately, it's so sad because it's really melting the brains of the people. Ask him. I'm going to ask a series of questions to him in relationship to the Moors and, you know, the Ahmadis. You know, what Shahada did they call and repeat it? What was their kalima? Did they make salat 5 times a day? Did they build masjids? The answer to this is yes. Did they write the Qur'ans of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Or did they have some damn Buddhist text? Or did they have so-called, you know, Aquarian gospel text? Did they have that? Can he show and prove it? Of course not. They had the Quran. They held the Quran sacred. They even held to the idea that pictures were haram. Yes, they did. This is facts. So you can see it in their architecture. See, this is what they try to do. He tried to say the Indians were not a court, they're not with the Indians, but then the Indians all of a sudden become Moorish. Interesting. So he even had to make the Indians Moorish. This guy is a walking contradiction. He's a walking contradiction. And then the masjid that he showed you, there was Arabic writing on there, which was very, very keen if y'all paid attention to the picture that he was showing. And I was reading it. And I said, Subhanallah, Most High is Allah. I said, look at what is written on that masjid. Can he read it? Can he recognize it? And that masjid was in the Punjab. Guess where Mirza Ghulam Ahmad is from? He's from the Punjab. This is true. No Bourgeois Ali didn't travel anywhere outside this country. And if he did, damn sure it wasn't India. Show the records that he went over there. And don't tell us that there was no records of traveling at that time, because of course it was. We have the records of Mufti Muhammad Sadiq coming to America and leaving. Came to America in 1920 and left about 1923. So they lie to make a story fit that does not fit. And quite frankly, just to be honest, and I'm sorry, the Moor Science Temple is, you know, a speck of dust in comparison to Ahmadi Muslim community. That's just a fact. They're not even on the map nowhere. But here in America, as far as the Moor Science Temple of America, that's why it's called the Moor Science Temple of America. They try to connect with people and say, oh, you're Moor, you're a Moor. So the Indians is the same as us. My teacher is Punjabi, but I'm not saying he's the same nationality as me. But somehow my teacher is the same nationality as I am, according to their logic, the logic this guy is bringing. Oh, so my nationality is just the same, even though the brothers in Morocco are Muslim and they my brothers in spirit, but not my brothers by nature as my genetic tribe. So what the hell are y'all teaching the people? Because Islam says you can hold whatever nationality you want. Islam allows you to hold whatever nationality you want. But you trying to make what? All black people Moor, so-called Moorish, and make that synonymous with some Punjabi Indians and some Moroccans and some Egyptians. What the hell are you talking about? We got Muslims and Ahmadis. Muslims all over the world. Nationality. The black man in America needs something that's going to liberate him, something that is going to make him connect with himself and his own damn nationality, and it has nothing to do with the so-called Moor America. That teaching is fraud and is dead. It's been dead. Hell, it's teacher that claimed to be Moors. When he died, they put black on his damn death certificate. They didn't put Moorish on his death certificate. They went night. His so-called Moors keep him out of prison. He went to prison. Enemy. So they want to tell you, like, saying you the Moor science of America. They're going to hook you up, please.
All right. Once again, if you haven't done so, hit the like button. Hit that like button. And if you're interested in being part of the debate league, you can reach me at solarmind123@gmail.com. That's solarmind123@gmail.com. Okay, now we're going to turn this over to Tyvon Swain-El. Tyvon Swain-El, are you ready for your closing?
Yes, sir.
Let me set the timer, and your 5 minutes starts now.
All right. So real quick, family. This man is Deuce Muhammad Ali, right? You see, he's wearing a fez, right? This is a brother who was instrumental in setting up Pan-Africanist movements and also Pan-Islamic movements around the world. He was instructional in dealing with the UNIA in its formation, and also the Ahmadi Muslims reached out to the brother for help. He actually published within their literature the Muslim Sunrise. But he's a very interesting brother. Let's read up on him real quick. Let's see what he's got to say, right? It said a luminary who's, this is a book, The Black Crescent, Experience of Legacy of African Muslims in the Americas, right? It states, a luminary whose life work may have had greater impact on Noble Drew Ali was Deuce Muhammad Ali, apparently born in Alexandria, Egypt in 1866. And I'm saying this right now because Drew Ali is known as the Egyptian adept student. Egyptian adept student. So who is the Egyptian adept teacher? So right off the top, Deuce Muhammad Ali, apparently born in Alexandria, Egypt in 1866 of an Egyptian father and Sudanese mother. Right? Broke that all down right there. You know what I'm saying? While Deuce Muhammad Ali's very representation would have commended him to Noble Drew Ali, his work as a pioneer in Pan-African thought would certainly have endeared him, and it is likely that some among the adherents of Moorish science came across his writings. Perhaps Deuce Muhammad Ali is most famous for the African Times and Oriental Review, etc. Right? Let me break down a little bit further. In addition to Pan-Africanism, Deuce Muhammad Ali was very interested in Muslim and Asian affairs, something Noble Drew Ali would have supported. And he was a principal author of the Oriental, Occidental, and African Society, launched in 1912 and succeeded in 1914 by the League of Justice of the Afro-Asian Nations. In 1921, Deuce Muhammad Ali left Britain for the United States, where in addition to working with Garvey, he pursued various business interests. Wearing his characteristic fez, he made appearances among Detroit Muslim communities, among Detroit's Muslim community in 1922, right? Wearing his fez, he was in the Detroit Muslim community in 1922, right? And real quick, where is this? You can see here where Deuce Muhammad Ali, in fact, contributed to the Ahmadi Journal under the leadership of missionary to Britain, Kawaf Kamal Uddin, etc. Right? Let's jump into some other stuff real quick, right? So he dealt with the Ahmadi Muslims, right? So what did Deuce have to say? Like, so he helps Garvey out. He's Garvey's mentor, right? So Garvey's messing with the Ahmadis and whatnot. So what do they all having to say about each other, right? Deuce Muhammad Ali cared little about let me read this title real quick. Hold on. This is in A History of Islam in America from the New World to the New World Order, right? Deuce Muhammad Ali cared little about the orthodoxy of the Ahmadiyya. In his association with them, first in London and later in the United States, he was impressed with their activism as a positive expression of native culture, for which he worked to gain respect. the black man, the brown man, and the yellow man all have religions, traditions, instructions, and whatnot, which they love and admire, for which, and this is where it gets interesting, they expect a little love and admiration. Deuce regarded Islam as a more proper religion for Africans and considered Christianity to be a corrupting influence on the progress of people of color because of its association with colonial powers and their missionaries. In the spring of 1922, Sadiq moved the headquarters of the Ahmadiyya from Detroit to Chicago, and later, with the help of Ahmadi funds from India, established a mosque next to it, adorned with a dome. There is some evidence that suggests Deuce was in Chicago around the same time. After moving his headquarters to Chicago, Sadiq began to lecture at UNIA gatherings and to convert Garveyites to Islam to significant numbers at one time after 5 lectures at UNIA meetings in Detroit, right? And again, so bottom line is, between these two bits here, right, we can see that Deuce Muhammad Ali not only helped the UNIA, right, rocking the Fed. So this brother also, he went around. He was an actor and a playwright. He went around acting the Moorish parts out of Shakespeare plays. So again, this is a brother whose job, he went around the world doing Pan-Africanism, Pan-Islamism, and then specifically acting out the Moorish parts in plays for Shakespeare, right? You understand what I'm saying? So again, Bashir does not represent nothing close to being Moorish, right? The Ahmadiyya Muslims don't represent nothing close to being Moorish. And if nothing else, there's links to them coming to people rocking the fez for help in the Americas, right? So they couldn't even disseminate Islam in America without people rocking the fez. Yeah. Not only that, it's shown that the brother rocking the fez was working with them for a decade prior to. Yeah. But so peep game, right? So just like, where is it at? Where is it? Bottom line, it's the same story though, right? So you see, Imam Bashir has
30 seconds, brother.
Imam Bashir had to make a Lions of Allah organization because the Ahmadi weren't doing enough for people of African descent, right? Again, he got you paying into an Ahmadi caliphate, right? The Moors got you taking care of yourself, uplifting yourself, showing you a culturalist, formless Islam that we practiced when we took over Spain. Yeah. So with that, family, we'll close out on a whole nother thing. But yeah, I'll drop some knowledge on the Q&A on the lightning round and whatnot. But real talk, there's nothing Moorish about Ahmadiyya Islam. There's nothing Moorish about it whatsoever. And there's not a single solitary teaching the brother can point to that say that he can say that we got from them as Moor. There's not a single solitary teaching. However, we can point to the Sufi and Sunni orders, the Chishti orders, etc., right? They go back to the Moorish times. And we can see, and I'll be able to show this even further, the connection in terms of ideology and concepts.
And your time is up. Shout out to the chat room. Much love to the chat. If you haven't done so, hit the like button. And also you can choose your favorite debater or rank your debater on the Debate League Power Rankings. The link will be in the description after this live stream. Okay, so are you ready for the lightning round, which is my favorite round? Let y'all get it in for another 15 minutes, right? So I'll set the timer. And Imam Bashir, are you ready? Imam Bashir. It looked like he froze. It looked like he froze, Imam.
Yeah, he froze. He got to come out and come back in.
Yeah, you probably got to come out and come back in, Imam. Yeah, your screen froze. Okay, family, once again, this is Solar Vision Debate League. If you're interested in becoming one of the debaters, you can reach me at solarmind123@gmail.com. That's solarmind123@gmail.com. Tomorrow we will be having a very, very interesting discussion between Brother TJ, who is the Israelite, Y'all may be aware of TJ when he's talking about issues of the black family and the black female, but he's also an Israelite, and he has Israelite doctrine that he want to bring to the family, and he's going to be debating Tarik Bay, and the topic of that debate will be dealing with the birth, immaculate conception, and also the death and resurrection of Christ. So tune into that, family. I will be posting up a video letting y'all know the time, which will be 9:30 Eastern time. So make sure you have your pens and pads. Tarik Bay say coming with a lot of powerful information, and brother DJ is coming with a lot of powerful information as well. So make sure you tune into that. Also, we have in the future the times to be determined with the Gorilla Hebrew and the Imam Bashir. You know, they only did one of the debates of their trilogy of debates. I most likely will be connecting with the Gorilla Hebrew on Saturday at the Saneter TV Awards. Shout out to the Gorilla Hebrew and also Saneter. So we got a lot of things coming up in store. You know, once again, if you're interested in becoming one of the debaters, you could reach me at solarmind123@gmail.com. solarmind123@gmail.com. Now, we also have Lord Abba, and Gideon Yasharel. We have to reschedule due to the fact that Lord Abba did not have his information all the way together. So we're going to schedule that for next week, Wednesday. Most likely next Wednesday. We'll be getting with you on that. But most likely we'll be scheduling that for next Wednesday. And the topic of that debate will be the authenticity of Deuteronomy 28. The authenticity of Deuteronomy 28. And are we the Israelites of the Bible? Are we the Israelites of the Bible? So, Tyvon, Swain-El, you got some information that you want to give to the people, your contact information. I see you posted up a couple of videos.
Real quick, can I, being that the Imam dropped out and we have like a 15-minute round that we're just going to get into, can I get 7 minutes of that round?
Can you get set for what?
Can I get 7 minutes of that 15-minute round we don't have right now because the Imam dropped out?
Go ahead, brother.
Real talk. So, let me share my screen real quick. Bang, bang, bang. Real quick, I want to just show the family the questions I was going to ask the Imam. And then I just want to show something real quick, the connection to the ancient Moors via some documentation that you can see from Indian Muslims, right, in modern day times. So real quick, I'll just read off the questions I was going to ask the Imam in this round. Did the Moors in Spain believe that Jesus died in Kashmir?
Hold on, brother. We're gonna wait for I thought you wanted to talk about something else. We're gonna wait for him to come in first before you go in.
Oh, I thought you. All right, my fault. I thought you were gonna close out. Oh, all right. As long. So can I?
Okay.
All right. Is he coming back in or no?
Yeah, he's coming back. He I think his laptop died. He just got to plug it back in.
All right. Well, in that case, family, I'll plug myself then. I get Brother Tyvon Swain-El on Facebook. A good brother of mine and I, a 5% brother named Sergeant Debunk. We have a Facebook group page to where we work on trying to find unified solutions for people in the conscious community. So we're not just beefing and arguing with each other. We're trying to find unified solutions. So it's called It Takes Unified Solutions on Facebook. That's the name of the group. It Takes Unified Solutions. The acronym is It Takes Us, US, Unified Solutions. So yeah, check us out on Facebook. Check us out on YouTube and whatnot. Also, I have another outreach program I do for the Moors and the Israelites, trying to link the two together, right? Called the Moors of Canaan. I'm building with people like the mighty Hebrew, who's up in my state right now, and other people like that. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully, I'm trying to link up with the Sakari in some way, shape, or form. But me and Brother Alizar gotta squash a couple of things because he came out the Moors kind of hard a little while ago. You know what I'm saying? In a debate with Lord Abba. You know what I'm saying? So we got to clear that up whenever he's done getting it in with the Bashir.
So you was able to check out that debate with Lord Abba, huh?
Oh yeah.
What you think? What you think about that debate? I hear a lot about that.
About the one with him and the Gorilla Hebrew?
Yeah.
So like I said, brother, there's a cherry picking on both sides, and there needs to be some clarity on some things. Because again, Brother Abba comes from the concept of we're all Moabites or we're all Moors and whatnot. And that's not quite what the scrolls say, right? The scroll says that we're all Hebrew, but we're not all Moors, right? Like we're not all Moabites. Some of us are Israelites and some of us are Moabites, and there's a part that they play with each other, right? So he's right when he's saying historically, when he points out the Moabite stuff in terms of like what we're called in the historical annals and journals and whatnot. He's right about that, right? However, the guerrilla Hebrew, when he tries to say that Jesus wasn't a Canaanite and wasn't a Moabite, and that Moabites are Chinese, etc., and the Moabites are Japanese, etc., and the Moabites are the product of incest, he's 1,000% incorrect. And he can't point to a single word in Hebrew that ever says that the Moabites were ever incestuous, or that they're Chinese, etc., right? Or that our people are not Canaanite, because when you go to Ezekiel 16 verse 3, it stipulates that, O Jerusalem, thy birth and thy nativities of the land of Canaan. Thy father was Amorite, thy mother a Hittite. So at the end of the day, even Israelites and Moors are Canaanites together. That's the nationality we share, right? Hebrews and Canaanites, right? But in terms of saying Israelites are Moors and Moors are Israelites, it's tomato, right? But it's a good build. It's a good video. I suggest everyone go watch it, man. It's on, I think it's Saneter TV 7 or Black News 102, something like that. It's a good build. Go check it out, fam.
Okay, no doubt. With that being said, we're going to get started on this lightning round. I set the timer for 15 minutes, and y'all can go ahead and set it off. Who want to ask the first question?
I'm gonna ask the first question. And the first question is what? It's a two-part question. What is the shahada that those Moors in antiquity said, and can you repeat it in Arabic?
Yeah, la ilaha illallah. So my question to you is, did the Moors in Spain believe, as the Ahmadis did, that Jesus died in Kashmir?
All right, I'm gonna ask the first question that I asked you again. Maybe you didn't hear me. All right. So, what was the Shahada Kalima that those Moors in antiquity said, and the language, and what, and can you repeat it? Can you write it?
So I just did La ilaha illallah. Right? That's
what was the language? What was the language that they was using?
That would be Arabic right there.
Okay. And so we established that they used Arabic, right? So yep. how did you learn, if it was Arabic, how did you learn that it's La ilaha illallah? Where did you get La ilaha illallah from?
So you just asked me two questions and I answered two questions. So I'm going to ask you two questions before I answer anything else.
Where did you get La ilaha illallah from, bro?
Okay, this is a Q&A round, bro. So you asked me one, I answered it twice. You asked me again, you asked me another question about what language it was. I answered that. So I got two questions.
I would never debate you again. You would never be on a platform with me, dog. But go ahead, bro.
I'm not mad. If I was you, I wouldn't get on me neither. So again, did the Moors in Spain believe that Jesus died in Kashmir like the Ahmadis do? And did the Moors in Spain believe that Jesus was not raised to Allah like the Ahmadis do?
As far as died in Kashmir, probably not. Raised to Allah, like you said, there was no official madhab, so we don't know what their position or understanding was on that particularly.
So okay. So for the family, the Quran stipulates that Allah raised Jesus to himself. So the Moors believe the Quran, so they would have believed that Jesus was raised, and not the fact that what the Ahmadis believe, that they don't believe in the ascension. Again, so
all right.
Did the Moors in Spain claim their nationality?
Right, so once again, where did you get La ilaha illallah from?
So again, I get that from Surah 3, ayat 18.
Surah 3, ayat 18?
Yeah.
What does that entire surah say? If you get it from that, what does it say? So
my turn. You just asked the question. So my question back to you is, did the Moors in Spain claim to be?
What does Surah 3:18 say in Arabic? What does it say?
Okay, I'm sorry that you keep wasting your questions.
What does it say?
I'm sorry you keep wasting your questions, bro. And I know this is why you probably don't like debating with people. Okay. How about you recite something, Mr. Imam?
What does it say?
You tell us. How about you recite something?
I don't know. That's why. You don't know. You're a hypocrite and a damn liar. You don't know.
What am I a hypocrite about?
You don't know. That's why.
Okay,
You don't know what they said.
Moving
you don't
on.
know. You don't
Moving
know
on.
the Shahada
Did the
that
Moors
they
in
said.
Spain pay
You
tribute to the
don't know.
Ahmadi Caliphate? Did
You
the Moors in
don't
Spain?
know.
Did the Moors
You
in
don't
Spain
know.
tribute to the Ahmadi
You
Caliphate?
don't know. You
Wasted
can't read the Arabic
Hey,
in quarter,
Solomon.
bro.
He wasted. Hey, Solomon. Well, he wasted his
know.
question. All right.
Period. Did they make salat? Did they make 5 rakats? Excuse me, 5
let's get some order in here. Let's get some order.
Did they make fajr?
So,
Imam Bashir, you asked your question. Did they make fajr? Go ahead and answer that. Swain-El, then you ask him a question.
Did they make salat? Yes, they made salat.
No, I asked you specifically. Did they make the 5 obligatory prayers? Did they make those every day, starting with fajr?
So no, because there's no 5 obligatory prayers in the Quran. There's obligatory prayers.
So the Moors in Spain did not make 5 prayers.
So hold on, let me clarify. You don't interrupt me. You said 5 obligatory prayers. So I'm correcting you on your Islam. There's not 5 obligatory prayers. Were there Moors that prayed 5 times?
That's not what I asked you. That's not what I asked you.
Whoa, easy. Pump the brakes, sir.
Did they make 5 prayers? Yes or no?
As a mandatory, no.
This guy's a fucking clown.
Show me. You can't show me what you can.
You're a clown, man. You're a clown. I don't have no more rap. I have no more rap. No more rap.
Imam.
More rap.
When was 5 salat solidified in the Islamic world? What year?
I have no more rap for you.
What year?
No more rap for you, dog. No more rap.
Yeah, you got nothing for me.
So no longer wasting my time. No longer wasting time with you.
So
no longer wasting time with you.
Then prove something. Prove something. Prove that it was mandatory. Prove that it was mandatory. Prove that it was mandatory.
I'm no longer wasting brain power on you. For what?
Hey, Solomon, if he's not going to answer a question, cut his mic. He's just cutting me so I can't ask him a question. He's getting his ass whooped. Come on now.
That's what you think.
So you got a question. Hold on a second. Go ahead and ask the question, and then Imam Bashir, go ahead and answer.
Did the Moors in Spain pay tribute to the Ahmadi Caliphate? Yes or no?
How can they pay tribute to something that came after?
So you pay tribute to the Ahmadi Caliphate.
11 AD. What are you talking about? 800 AD. What are you talking about?
All right. So the Moors in America do not pay tribute to the Ahmadi
What are you talking about?
So then,
what are you talking about, man?
We're talking about you imitating.
What are you talking about?
Imitating Indian, imitating the narrative. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about you being an imitation, brother, not a real one, right? So here's my question. Here's my question. So in the Moorish Science Temple of America, women can hold the sheikh status. Women can hold the imam status for you. Yeah, is that possible within Ahmadi Islam? Can women hold positions of authority? Because this happened in women holding positions of authority in government, in military, in society happened in Moorish Spain. Can that happen in Ahmadi Islam? Because it can happen in the Moorish Science Temple of America. Women can rise to all levels of leadership. Can that happen in Ahmadi Islam? Watch the crickets, family. Watch the crickets.
You just said that women can become an imam in the Moorish Science Temple?
They can become a sheikhs, yeah.
No. Can they become an imam?
I said the equivalent of what would be an imam, right?
Do y'all even use imam as a terminology? Let's establish that.
So you're asking questions and not answering. You're running. Stop being a coward and be a man for 2 seconds. Be a man for 2 seconds and answer the question.
Trust me,
be a man for 2 seconds and answer the question. Stop running. Stop running, man.
It's nothing but a man over here.
So can women rise to power in Ahmadi Islam? Yes or no?
You understand?
Can women rise to power in Ahmadi Islam? Yes or no?
Let's stick with the information. Imam Bashir, do you have a question for Tyvon Swain-El?
Whoa. He didn't answer the question, brother. The question's on the floor and he keeps running. Can women rise to power in Ahmadi Islam?
I'm not dealing with this. This is a waste of time, man. It is what it is. The people had enough. I gave them enough information. His line of questioning, not answering questions, going around because he know what the thing is. All of this, I don't have no time for that.
You keep harping on do I speak Arabic, bro?
I don't spent enough time on this foolishness, and he's not even worthy to step in the ring or stand beside me. And I never take that position. But he doesn't even have.
He can't stand beside me, man. Are you going to answer the question or mute the mic?
No, I'm not answering none of your questions. All right.
Women can't.
You win the lightning round. You win the lightning round.
For the people.
You win the lightning round.
For the people. For the people. Women cannot rise to power.
What was the question that you asked, brother? What was the question that you asked?
Can women rise to power in Ahmadi Islam? Can women hold positions of authority in Ahmadi Islam? Like they did in Spain. Like they did in Spain.
For my brother at his show, I'm not just going to answer it yet. Yes, they definitely hold power. It's called the Lajna. They have their own presidents. They have their own everything. Yeah, that's what it's called.
Can you have female imams in Ahmadi Islam? You heard what I asked.
Yo, this guy, man. This guy, you're a waste of time, bro.
Can you have female imams in Ahmadi
Islam? No female imams leading over the men. No.
Can you have female imams leading over the women?
Just like in the Moors in antiquity, they have no records of women leading the prayer in those masjids in Spain. Oh, like, come on, man. Okay. You're ridiculous. You're ridiculous. You're ridiculous. Ridiculous.
All right. So with the brother,
the Ahmadi Caliphate. Did the Moors back then recognize the Caliphate of the Ahmadis? Like, what the hell are you talking about?
I'm talking about you.
After 1908. What are you talking about?
Arab. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you imitating an Indian, imitating an Arab.
And then you say imitate. Aren't they Moors? You fool. You said they were Moors.
I said you. I'm not talking about the actual Muslims of India. I'm talking about you.
They were Moors, Indians. That's what you said.
I said you. I'm not talking about those Muslims.
You said the Moors, Indians are Moors. That's exactly what you said.
Do the Ahmadi claim? Whoa. Do the Ahmadi claim to be Moorish?
Why are you talking about Indians now?
Do the Ahmadiyya claim to be Moorish?
Yo, be quiet. Yo, man, you asking me stupid damn questions, man.
Do the Ahmadiyya claim to be Moorish? No, they don't.
Stupid questions. So most unintelligent questions.
You have an Islam that's subservient. You have an Islam that's an Indian imitating an Arab, and you have an Islam that's nothing close to African. What you talking about, Art? You don't rock a fez. You don't call yourself Moorish, and you're subservient. You're subservient to an Ahmadi caliphate. There's nothing about you that rocks with the Moors. The Moors were hard.
Mirza Ahmed and there was wearing a fez before Noble Ali was even born. That's one. Two, wearing a fez all of a sudden makes you African. This is the type of foolishness we got to deal with. Like, really? Wearing a fez make you African?
So here's the Jedi mind trick. No one said that.
Man, waste my damn time.
The Jedi mind trick. No one said that. But what was shown was that fez has to do with our empire and has to do with the time period when the Hajj was cut off going to the east. So the Muslims from the Nile
is a Shriner fez. That is a damn Turkish Shriner fez right up there.
Sure, that one is. Not this one. Not this that says fez on it. Not this that says fez.
That's white masonry. That's white masonry.
Look at you running.
White masonry, man.
You running.
White masonry.
I don't believe that you're
nowhere. You have no bullets. You recognize you weak as hell.
Oh, if I got no bullets, let me run through my questions in. If I got no bullets, let me run through my questions in. Why you keep running? Let me run through them.
You all run? No, ain't no run through them. All of your questions don't pertain to the Moors in Morocco.
If I got no bullets,
to the Moors in ancient antiquity.
So we know that the Moors did not believe, like, they didn't hold your spiritual beliefs. They weren't subservient to Moors in the East. They were subservient to Muslims.
You got a European wife. Like, stop playing.
Hold on. What was the last bit? How I got a European wife? I'm not married.
You got a European girl.
I'm single. I'm single and celibate for the past 4 years.
You had a European girl. Your last girl was European. Stop playing. Stop playing. You joking about this African. Your Africanness. Your Moorishness. Stop playing. It's a joke.
All right, we're going to keep it. We're going to keep it.
The Moor Science Temple of America, y'all frauds. All the way around. The whole system is fraudulent.
So prove it.
It's made up fraudulent. You don't have nothing to do with those Moors in antiquity.
All you gotta do is prove it.
Nothing. You don't have nothing to do with those Moors in antiquity. You lie about the Shahada.
Just prove it.
You lie about the prayers that they made. You lie about them wearing just the fezzes. You lie about their Arabic, and you try to switch and snake around that. You lie about how they call the azan. You stay away from the things that they actually did according to their culture. You lie about the knowledge that they had with the Arabic numerals, the Arabic language. You lie about all of those things. You lie about them going to Hajj. You lie about
whoa.
community.
If you're going to say that I lie, you got to prove it.
You try to manipulate and say that Deuce Muhammad somehow had something to do with the establishment of Ahmadiyya, which you know is a damn lie.
I didn't say that. Whoa. I didn't say that it had to do with the establishment of Ahmadiyya. I said establishment of Ahmadiyya.
Repeatedly
one single lie.
You cry wolf and lie all the time.
What's the first lie
and
I told?
then think that you hitting shots.
What's the first lie I told? All right. Because in the last debate,
so many of them, I can't even
applaud. Whoa. All right, you've been on a diatribe. You've been on a diatribe. You've been on a diatribe. You've been on a diatribe.
I am on a diatribe because I'm the teacher, you the student.
So you don't learn about you calling yourself a Muslim then, yeah?
I'm the teacher, you the student.
You're a Muslim student. The Muslim student.
I'm the teacher, you're the student.
You ain't nada but a liar and a hypocrite.
I'm the Moor of antiquity. You are the Moor science.
Where's your fez? Where's your Moorish name, Mr. Imitation Man?
On your death certificate, it's going to read black. Facts.
On my death certificate, I'm not going to be.
On your death certificate, it's going to read black.
It's going to read white, first of all.
You're not Moorish American.
I'm Moorish American Muslim 100%, right?
They don't have you. That's not what they classifying you as. Stop lying. You got an American driver's license.
Whoa, all right. First of all, if you gonna call me a liar, you gonna whoa. Shut up. If you gonna call me a liar, you gonna prove something. You gonna prove something. You gonna prove something, Mom. You gonna prove something. You gonna prove something today. If I'm a liar, right? We can go back and hear the full out your mouth. We never use the word Muslim, but we use the word Muslim.
Maybe you blend in.
We can see you saying, I never said Levi Dowling translated anything, but 4 times you said he translated this stuff, yeah? Don't call nobody a liar when you can't stand on your own Islam. You're a fake. You imitate an Indian, imitating an Arab.
The lightning round is over. The lightning round is over. The lightning round is over. Shout out to both of the debaters. You know, let us know who you vote for. Go to the Debate League Power Rankings. The link will be in the description after this live stream. Once again, shout out to Imam Bashir and Tyvon Swain-EL. We're going to close out right now. And tomorrow, make sure you tune in because we're going to have Brother TJ taking on Taharka Bay. The topic is going to be concerning the birth, resurrection, and death of Christ. So make sure you tune in. That'll be 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Shout out to the chat room. Peace and Black Power.